The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey, let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pig!
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, June 2nd, 2025. This program begins now. Sports are awesome, especially here in Indianapolis, Indiana, as the Indiana Pacers have made it to the NBA Finals for the first time since the year 2000. The city is alive, and obviously in Game 6, whenever the Pacers beat the hell out of the New York Knicks, they punched their ticket to the NBA Finals to take on a very dominant Oklahoma City Thunder team that'll begin on Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern on ABC. It'll be ESPN broadcast throughout the entirety of the NBA Finals as Tyrese Halliburton and Larry Bird Trophy winner, the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals, Pascal Siakam, take on Shea, Jalen, in a squad of Oklahoma City Thunder boys that are obviously scrappy, gritty, and have a home court advantage. But don't look now. Indiana is alive. The city's was abuzz after the New York Knicks get sent back to New York, being Eastern Conference Finals. Congrats to the Knicks. Congrats to the Knicks. Had a chance to be there. Was not sitting courtside. I think those tickets were like 50, 60 grand a pop or something like that. And I do love the Pacers. Not that much, but I do love the Pacers. Up in a suite with the boys, watching as it went down. And, you know, as the fourth quarter kind of unfolded, it all got kind of obvious that the Pacers were going to be going to the finals. And it's not just because Tyrese and Pascal. Obi Toppin is absolutely beloved in this city of Indianapolis. There was numerous Obi Toppin chants as he hits his head off the rim every single time he seemingly goes to the rack. Thomas Bryant, former Indiana Hoosier, was with the Lakers. Now he's back with the Pacers. He dropped a couple threes. The place went apeshit. Tyrese Halliburton turned it on in the fourth quarter. Pascal Siakam is damn near unguardable. He's so fast, so long.
Huge.
And his Pacers team is in better shape than you are. TB there bringing the juice. He's been doing that for the entirety of the playoffs on the bench. Now he's getting a chance to shine. Nemhard was playing some Nemhard defense on Jalen Brunson. Actually, Jalen Brunson headbutted Nemhard at one point. Obviously, there was no call because number 39, the ref wearing number 39, a little white guy about this big, he really wanted the Knicks to be in it.
Yep.
I was watching him. He seemed to be having an angle. Now, I don't want to throw out any conspiracy fodder.
Sure.
Number 39, a little white. If he's reffing any of the games the Pacers are taking on Oklahoma City, I don't know if he's anti-Pacers. I don't know if he's anti-Coach Carlisle. I don't know if he was pro-New York. Whatever the case was, that thing was going the opposite direction for like a 4 or 5 minute period for the Knicks. And it was just, it got to the point where it was too big to rig. The Indiana Pacers were just a damn good basketball team. And everybody all season was talking about how nobody was talking about Oklahoma City enough. This team's dominant. I agree. Oklahoma City fans all year have been saying, hey, our team's the real deal. The NBA people who are the super NBA people are like, Oklahoma City, this team is the real deal. And in the Eastern Conference, nobody's talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They need to give the Cleveland Cavaliers more love. Everybody's talking about these small markets, the Oklahoma City team and the Cleveland team, not getting enough love. You know who got no love throughout the entirety of the season?
Who?
You know who got no love through the beginning of the damn playoffs? They're playing on Ion Network somehow.
That's right.
Whenever they had their first couple playoff series. The Indiana Pacers, nobody talked about them. Last year, they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They get swept by the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics would inevitably go win the title, but they would get swept 4-0. 3 of those 4 games, Pacers have good lead, and then they just kind of choke it away. So nobody even talked about the Pacers being the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Nobody talked about the Pacers having the best record since post-All-Star break in the entire NBA alongside Oklahoma City. Nobody wanted to see the Pacers on TV, and the Pacers just became inevitable. The Pacers just became a team that was unflappable. They were in better shape than you. And this city and this team learned from what happened last year, and now we're ready to take on the NBA Finals atmosphere and environment and the NBA Finals spotlight. This Pacers team might not have been given a spotlight all year, but this Pacers team is ready for the spotlight. They got dogs all over the court. Miles Turner, who's been here for 10 years, cuts a promo afterwards about the city, about the team, about everything he believes in. He's seen a lot of transition with this squad. And Coach Carlisle, who'll be joining us in about 10 minutes or so, is a guy that's basically just been shooed out everywhere he's gone. It's an island of misfit toys basically here for the Indiana Pacers, who have come together, and they will run your ass out of the gym. Now, will they be able to do that to Oklahoma City? We shall see. The two best teams in the NBA are battling in the NBA Finals, and we're lucky that our city is being represented. And good luck to the Oklahoma City Thunder. 9.5-point favorites on Thursday.
Crazy.
The disrespect continues for the Indiana Pacer team. But first game, I think they're going to be trying to feel each other out. Who knows how this first one goes? Thunder could win by 20 in this first one. That would not scare me. Pacers could win by 15 to 20. And that would not scare the Oklahoma City team. Best of 7 series, going to have to feel each other out. Think this one is going to go to a full 7 regardless. And I can't wait to watch it. What an exciting and electrifying time here in the great state of Indiana. The Talks the Tables here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Baseball happened this weekend as well, Ty. We will certainly dive into that in a little bit. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys AP Tony's here. Great shirt. See you representing for the Pacers.
Yes, sir, brother. I mean, I've been a Hoosier now for, 8-9 years? And Pittsburgh doesn't have a basketball team, so why wouldn't I root for the Indiana Pacers? The best team in the NBA since January 1. Well, second record-wise, but you get it. I'm allowed to say that because I'm a Surge fan. A little bit biased. But, yeah.
Well, TJ McConnell, there's a Yinzer on the team.
Of course. Yeah, Duquesne, wait till you see the TJ. Wait till you see what I got from TJ McConnell.
Okay, I'm excited. We're getting gifts.
You'll see later this week. That's Batiste.
Yeah, I like to hear that. We can be purchased.
Without a doubt.
We can. And Tone certainly somebody that can be purchased. TJ McConnell starts filling. Tone digs his locker with a bunch of merch. He's certainly going to wear them. Look at the shirt he's wearing right now. Yeah. I mean, he is.
I bought this myself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I did.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure you did. It's a beautiful time, and it's a fun team to be a fan of. If you're not an NBA fan, like from Pittsburgh, there's no NBA team. There's a lot of people that maybe don't have NBA teams. I think a lot of people have potentially picked up the Pacers because of either our program or because Tyrese Halliburton joining us. But it's also a good story because literally nobody has wanted them to win. Like none of the people have wanted them to win. I mean, you go on Get Up when who's going to win the series across the bottom? Knicks. Who's going to win the series? Bucks. Who's going to win the series? Cavs. They've been calling for the Pacers to lose. Every person on TV has been calling for the Pacers to lose every single series. I don't think there's been one person that has gone out and been like, I think the Pacers are going to do it this time. I think you could potentially get kicked off television. Yeah, we know how some of those people operate. There's a chance you get kicked off of TV if you were to say that. So it's a wonderful team to be a fan of. Consummate underdog, consummate overlooked, consummate underrated.
Yeah.
Overrate that. Tyrese Halliburton, 20-plus points, double-double in the game-sealing Game 6, or series-sealing Game 6. Pascal Siakam goes. I mean, it's just a fun team.
Yeah.
And they're all dogs, and none of them care. None of them care about who gets the credit. And the way they play is they play hard as hell. And this city is going to be electrifying. Come join us if you want to come to a game.
Yeah, the Siakam story, I think, is incredible, too. Was in Toronto, wins the championship. He was the G League MVP, really did kind of come up through the ranks. I think he went to New Mexico or New Mexico State, a small school kid. He talked about in his press conference, I moved from Cameroon and completely committed myself to basketball, and that's just kind of been my life. And then he gets traded, from Toronto after they fall off a cliff and finds a home in Indy. And last year when he got traded there, that was a huge deal for them. That kind of got them back into kind of that top-tier talent team. And then, of course, with the way the season ended with the Celtics sweeping them, there was no celebration. You've talked about it. When a team gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, like the Pacers, who weren't being talked about as one of those top teams, you expect to celebrate some sort of success like that, but because they got swept, there was nothing. And then this offseason, a bunch of clips have been coming out. Miles Turner posted something about him, like, hey, we think we can surpass last year. Siakam talked about too. Like, you think this is going to happen every year. I went to the finals, and then I never sniffed the finals. So the fact that, we were able to get to the conference finals last year was incredible. Now they're going to the finals. There's a stat of, both these teams. Gumpy shared it with us. They both average, OKC 100 possessions a game, the Pacers 99 possessions a game, and stuff like this is why the small markets are sweet. Like, they really do care more about basketball in Indiana. That's a real thing. Oklahoma City, I've never been there. I'm sure it's a wonderful place.
Oh, we've seen it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
That is special.
It is incredible. It's one of the best atmospheres in sports, and the shirts they do, of course, is cool, but they're on their feet. And that's what happened in the Pacers game 6 that I noticed, like 4 or 5 minutes left. Nobody was sitting down.
You could sense it. Connor, obviously from Boston. How many titles does the Celtics have?
18, most of the NBA history.
Okay, obviously, you're welcome. I just gave you that one.
I mean, hey, by the way.
Current.
If it's got to go anywhere, at least it just stays in here.
Yeah,
okay?
you're right. Thank God.
Okay.
And you'll be shipping that, obviously, whenever it gets to some team potentially getting to 4 wins.
We'll see. Well, hey, look, if SGA wants to reach out for it, maybe.
Yeah, but on that note, whoa. All right, listen, we don't know if it's going to him.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No, yeah. But on that note, there's like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Connor looks over, he goes, oh, you can feel it. Mm-hmm. Pacers are going to the finals. And I look around, and you could, because the game got kind of ugly. Pacers started making shots. Knicks subbed out before the Knicks even did a full line change and basically just tapped out and put the white flag up. The entire arena was standing, and there was just like a buzz. It was like everybody in their own little groups was like, holy shit. Pacers are going to the finals. The Pacers are going to the NBA finals right now. And it was a cool moment where you were like, you could sense it right now. Because, obviously Celtics fans were like, you guys don't get this a lot.
Yeah, well,
but this is what the feeling is. This is what we're trying to bottle and experience. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here. D-Butch, great to see you. Look incredibly cool.
Great to be here,
yeah,
buddy.
the atmosphere was electric in there. In that moment that he's chit-chatting about, that was when Tyrese goes from the logo. That was whenever, Thomas Bryant started going crazy from the side. It was like that fourth quarter moment is why you pay the amount of money that you pay to be in that building.
Yeah, thank you for that.
In this city. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Appreciate that.
No
it was
problem.
Much more fun this year for you, I think.
Yeah, last year was the worst viewing experience I've ever had in my life.
Sorry, that's on me.
Oh,
it was on him and
Celtics.
2 of his Celtics friends were there. And I said, never in my life am I doing that again, especially at the price that I just paid for this suite.
Sure.
I'm not going to watch people just dance in my face the entire time. I'm going to try to enjoy this. We certainly did that. But it was a beautiful thing, and it's amazing what sports can do.
Yeah.
Like this city, I'm not saying that last year after the Eastern Conference Finals, the city was bummed out about the Pacers, but they certainly were. They were bummed out about how the season ended because how proud they were of the Pacers team. Nobody thought they were going to be able to make it as far as they did. They do. Then you can't even talk about it. Now it's like we all kind of understand what the team is. The team represents the city well, and it's, the vibes are immense. The vibes are so high. It's a spectacular.
And you guys were there in the building. You can feel that energy even watching it through the TV. Like watching through the TV, hearing the chants, hearing the crowd, regardless of what the score was, the crowd was fully in it. You heard even the chants for Thomas, and obviously he's a Hoosier as well, but you talked about this state just being a basketball state in general. So for them to be in the finals for the first time and they have a real chance to win it. I forget who it was that was on here talking about, the teams and the makeup of the Pacers and how they play, and with their pace, like they can run you into the ground and they almost generate another superstar with those extra 20, 30 points that they just get in pace moving out. Saw some breakdown even against the Knicks with I think a lot of people going after Cat or going after the big, just not getting back down the court. As soon as they give up a bucket, boom, they're out, they're leaking.
Dude.
Tyrese is kicking it out, and that is a bitch for anybody that has ever played basketball at any level. Like, it doesn't matter, so you got the SGAs or the Hardens or whoever who can ISO and take it, but when you can play as a team like that, possession in and possession out, that is tough.
I like what you said there. It's like an added their pace is an added superstar.
Yeah.
It is the sixth man on the court is how conditioned they are. Last year during the playoffs, they kept saying, well, the Pacers are just playing against hurt teams. It's like they might be the ones causing the other team.
Yeah.
Their sixth superstar, which is their pace and their conditioning and their cardio, might be making people be hurt. And I saw the quotes about people getting upset about Cat allegedly and his effort on defense. It's like that was my big takeaway from watching that game courtside was like Cat is too big to be running the amount that they're. Because Pascal Siakam, he is tall, long, and he can
Fast.
run.
Yeah.
He can just run. He was running. I mean, he was going. Obi, they all got pace. Miles is the only guy. Now, he's been here for 10 years. Doesn't have the pace, but he still knows that he's going to have to run up and down. It's like when you get dropped in to play against his Pacers team, it's like it's a track meet. Like it is about to be a track meet. After how long this season has been, after how long the playoffs are, do you have enough guys that are going to be able to keep up with the pace of play that the Pacers are going to have? And it's like nobody really has been able to do that yet.
Yeah.
This Oklahoma City team, though, they're saying can because of the depth, because of the way they go about playing, and they kind of do the same thing, which is why it should be a great series is kind of how everybody's eyeing it.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. And Miles Turner, too, he's one of those guys that could, be a little upset, want more shots, but he knows his role. Like, for Karl Anthony Towns, they're going to be pissed at him if he's not taking 20, 25 shots, so he has to be in the game. Like, Miles Turner, sure, he can hit threes, he can, score in the post, he can do everything, but he's not going to be upset if he only has 10 shots because Siakam and Obi and Tyrese and, Mathurin coming off the bench, and I always get his name wrong. I'm sorry, Ben, but
It's Mathurin.
Mathurin, yeah, even him.
He's a dog.
He's
Very
unbelievable.
Absolute dog.
Yeah. So it's like they have all these different pieces and nobody has an ego. And I think it starts and ends with Rick Carlisle because Rick Carlisle's been around for so long. He knows how rare it is.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a top 10 statistical coach of all time in the playoffs, an NBA champion, a guy who's been to the finals 6 times, and now he's leading the Indiana Pacers for the first time in 25 years to the NBA finals. Gave a great promo after the game where he said in 49 other states it's just basketball, but this is Indiana. Huge pop. Also had the wherewithal to thank Ernie in TNT after the biggest night of this particular Pacers team's lives, to give them a thank you for everything that TNT has done for the NBA and their show. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, guy I punched right in the shoulder again, Coach Carlisle. I gave you a little something there. Coach, congratulations.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Hey, so we got to get this out of the way just for my own personal reasons. I do that promo where I talk on, to everybody in the fourth quarter. Let's turn this shit up. I'm going to give the microphone back. You're right there. I punch you right in the shoulder. No sell out of you. I don't even think you glanced at me. Did you feel the shot? Was there a thought when I was talking? Or are you locked in a zone there, don't even know what's going on with me? It's more so just basketball.
Yeah, I woke up with a bruise the next day and I had forgotten what happened. But no, listen, we appreciate you, Pat. We appreciate you getting us going when you sit courtside. It's awesome, and I don't care what other people think. It's good.
Okay. Hey, I needed that.
Love
Thank you.
that.
That makes me feel good, Coach. We just chit-chatted there about the depth of your team. And we talked about Miles Turner, how he's been there for 10 years. He gave a great speech afterwards talking about the state and the city. He doesn't care if he's not the one putting up 30. Feels like Tyrese doesn't care. Pascal doesn't care. Thomas Bryant comes in, puts up some major points. It's like, what about your team do you think makes them so unselfish? Is that kind of what it is? And how do you find guys that are like that in 2025, in 2026 going forward?
Well, our front office has done a great job of getting great people, and then your culture starts with your best players. So Tyrese and Pascal are both high level players that are great people. They're highly unselfish. They put winning above everything else, and they're both connectors on the court. So that's got to be the starting point for us. We're constructed a little differently. Things are changing in the NBA. It's, the top-heavy rosters of superstars, are kind of a thing of the past, somewhat. And so, our team has been built in a different way. It's built on balance. It's built on togetherness. It's built on skill, and it's built on tenacity. And the style we play is not an easy style. It's very physically demanding. But we have great guys, and they've really leaned into everything that's going on in this run, and obviously we want to keep it going.
Yeah, you represent our city well, so I think that's why you see such good buy-in from the fan base. That place was electrifying. You talk about it being physically tasking, the style of play that you have. I did not grow up in the basketball world. I watch basketball, but I don't know the ins and outs. But I do know that last year during the playoff run, all they kept talking about was the Pacers, they're just playing against hurt teams, they're playing against hurt teams, they're playing against hurt teams. Then this year, they didn't get their best, I think it's because of the pace that you guys play at. I think that is an added weapon. I think you actually run people out of gyms. I know that's not necessarily the thought, but whenever you think about your team being able to run at the speed and the pace that they're able to have, does that go back to like training camp? Do they know that what they're signing up for? Or how does it kind of be instituted that we're going to be the better shaped team as opposed to the other teams?
Well, it's training camp, but really it's, when we did exit meetings last year after the season, we talked about the importance of a great summer of conditioning. And look, this is one of the reasons that Tyrese had a slow start to the year. He was coming off the injury last year in the conference finals to Boston. He got healthy basically just in time to start practicing with Team USA with the Olympics. And then once the game started, he wasn't playing much, and then he got dinged up in, I think, the second to last game. And then he was not really healthy until about 2 or 3 days before actual training camp started. So he missed out on a summer of conditioning and base building, from a conditioning standpoint. And it's one of the big reasons that the start to his season this year was slow. And so it's a commitment, and it's not just, you don't just come into training camp to get in shape. Nowadays in this NBA, you've got to do your conditioning stuff during the summer, and you've got to come in really tuned up.
I think you guys are the most conditioned team that I've ever seen in basketball. Like Chip Kelly came into the NFL, and he was going to try to run hurry up, and we're going to run more plays. And with an 17-game season, 16-game season, guys' bodies just kind of fell off. It feels like you guys do that to other teams. Just from watching, like I was watching poor Karl Anthony Towns have to run back and forth, and I'm like, that's a weapon. But how does your team stay in shape? It's like your guys are just ready for it. Now, let's talk about your big brain, okay? I know you don't want to do that. You're always deflecting to others. There was a moment caught on camera, though. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Coach. Early on, you guys ran a pick and roll with against Jalen Brunson and kind of abused him in the post, if you will. And after, I believe, Neesmith, here lays it in, the boys on the bench went right over to you and basically patted you on the head and back like, Coach, you're a genius. How do you do it? What was the adjustments you guys made throughout the series, and how important is that during a 7-game series to kind of show one thing early on and then maybe change it in the biggest moment like Game 6, the closeout on Saturday?
Well, the opening play was from one of my coaching staff, and one thing that I got from Terry Stotts, who was one of my former assistants who went on to Portland. And he did this in Portland. He was the head coach there for 9 years and very successful. Whoever had the scout of that particular game had the opportunity to draw up the first play. And so I've been doing this now for 7 or 8 years, and it's great because it gives your assistants, most of whom have very fertile minds and have really studied the opponent, the opportunity to draw something up where they think there may be a vulnerability or something. So the staff drew it up. I happened to draw it up on the board, and I was the one that presented it, in our prep before the game, which is not the normal thing, but for time reasons, that's kind of how it went. So, yeah, there's this thing. So, Lloyd Pierce works with Miles Turner, and he works with Aaron, and some of our other coaches work with, the other guys, obviously. So if somebody draws up the first play and it works, McConnell always gets up and he's always saying, "Oh wow, what a great play!" That was really, and they do this big thing. Miles Turner, makes a post move and scores. The first play of the game, he'll run up to Lloyd Pierce. And he'll say, "Hey, Lloyd, was that the step through? Was that the Bill Walton or was that the Robert Parrish?" And so there's this fun stuff going on. So it's kind of not serious, but it's also just part of the character of our team. And And it's a fun-loving group, and the guys love to compete, and they love to compete together, and they have fun with it.
Yeah, I love that TJ McConnell's just shit-talking at all times. Oh, super genius, what a play. Good Yinzer guy, bring it all together. I saw James Johnson put a fire out immediately with a New York Knicks fan that was heckling the bench. It feels like you have the perfect combination of players in there to have great vibes, which leads to D-Butt's question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, professional sports, egos are always a thing. You mentioned, some of your leaders earlier on with Halliburton and Siakam. What did you learn how to manage, egos when it comes to running these types of teams? Because watching the team from afar, it seems very selfless. The ball moves, it finds the open shot. But what did you learn in your career how to manage different egos, different players, especially when you're having success?
Well, I've been humbled just about every way possible that you can be in coaching and as a player. And I've learned that humility and authenticity are the keys. Players today, they don't want to be bullshitted. They really can tell, if you're not being straight with them. So, look, we try to bring the truth to our guys. We try to let them know that we really care about them. It's important that they know that we are busting our butts as much as we can to help them succeed. Not only as a team, but individually in their careers, and so that they can play longer, they can play more years, they can play better, they can get good contracts and stuff like that. But we make it clear that our thing here is about culture, and it's about what we can do together, and we don't accept situations where people put themselves before the team, and it starts with Tyrese and Pascal and Miles, really, and the buck stops with those three guys, and those three guys walk the talk.
I love what your team's about, man.
Oh, yeah.
I do. So good for our city.
Oh, yeah.
Great you can feel it, right?
Easy team to root for.
Yeah, easy team to root, but you can feel the city like, I don't want to say like your team embodies a city because that seems like a bit cliche, but it's very real. Like it feels like your team embodies what we are here. And I think that's why you've seen how much this city has been excited about this. I mean, it was upside down on Saturday.
Crazy.
I mean, it was upside down on Saturday night. We're expecting the same thing throughout the rest of the finals and then hopefully into a very celebratory-filled offseason. Now, on that note, you're meeting a team that also has a great fan base. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Coach, during the NFL playoffs, we talk a lot about, away teams having to use silent count and not being able to hear each other in the huddle and stuff like that. When you go into an atmosphere like OKC that seems like it is incredible, is that something that you have to prepare for? Or is it similar to series that you have faced already in the NBA playoffs?
Oh, we don't call plays anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's one thing. But I to what Pat just said, when I went to Detroit for my first head coaching job in 2001, we looked at the team, we looked at the city that we were in, and you want to try to come up with an identity for the team that somehow mirrors the fan base. And so at that time, we had Ben Wallace, Cliff Robinson, Mike Curry, some really tough-minded guys. And so Detroit is a hard-working, auto city, all that, and a lot of industry there. And so going to work became kind of the moniker. When I came back here, this Indiana is so much about the purity and sanctity of the game, and playing the right way and those kinds of things that, we built the team, we built, our talking points within our culture on unselfishness, building skill, being in great shape, and doing the things that, the Indiana basketball is really all about. I think it's an interesting series. Oklahoma's historically great. They won 68 games. Their defense is historically great. But it's two teams that have been built similarly and built on the same pillars and the same things of importance. Hard, unselfish play, skill, all those kinds of things. So we're looking forward. It's going to be a great challenge. This is going to be, first game. I think we're already a 10-point underdog.
9.5, Coach. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all right. You just got to love the challenge, and so we've got a couple of days to prepare here before we get on the plane, and we have great respect for them, and we're going to look forward to the challenge.
Coach, how often do you use those types of things as motivation? You knowing that it's a 9.5, 10-point spread for the first game, and then I assume you saw whenever Tyrese was voted the most overrated guy in the NBA by the Athletics poll of his peers. Do you use that stuff as motivation? What is your messaging to the team on that type of stuff?
It's the stuff with betting and point spreads is so prevalent now. You don't really need to talk to the team about it. It's all out there. People are talking about it in real time during the broadcast. I just sense today's players are just have an awareness for a lot of things to begin with. I think they realize, our guys realize the level of the challenge. We played Oklahoma twice this year. We had a close game at home. We had a chance to be right there, and we just were unable to hit a couple shots, and it became a make-miss thing. And then later in the year, we went to Oklahoma, and we didn't play well. And I think we took a 20 or 22-point hit or something like that. I mean, they're great. They've got the MVP. They've got Jalen Williams, who's a second star. They've got Chet Holmgren, who's really their third star, and then they've got a supporting cast that's really, really good, and they really defend. Caruso and Dort, Williams and Gilgeous-Alexander. These guys are all elite defenders, and not only do they defend well, but they take the ball from the opponent. And so I believe during the playoffs they've been number one in points off turnovers. So a lot of this for us, we're going to have to do a good job with ball security. I know that's a football term too. We're going to have to take care of it on the one hand, but we're going to have to play fast, and we're going to have to move it around a lot, and we're going to have to rebound it, because the possession stats in every sport really do carry the day.
100 to 99 average, I guess, on the possessions between you guys and Oklahoma City. You just talked about them playing defense that great. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, speaking of that, Coach, there's a stat floating around that in you guys' last 8 playoff wins, you've scored 110 plus, and obviously, throughout the course of the series, you're going to score points, but do you think at some point in this series you guys are going to have to win at least one defensive battle when, shots aren't necessarily falling or whatever the case may be? Or is it one of those things where, hey, we already know what the formula is for us to win, we're just going to stick with that?
I do believe that you're right. And, the wonderful thing about NBA playoffs is, you get into a series, every single game is different. I mean, you look at the New York series, every single game one was played one way. It went to overtime. Game 2 was different. Game 3 was, every game is a new chapter. Some are high scoring, some are lower scoring. The lower scoring games are tough games to win. I mean, they're slugfests, and they're won and lost on the front lines. In the trenches. As you guys say in football. So. Look, we don't know. We don't know what game 1's going to look like. I know how intense it's going to be. The finals stage is a different world. You go to the NBA finals, and now your media things are different. You've got hundreds of media people from all over the world instead of 50 or 60 in the conference finals. Your practices during the finals, 30 minutes at the beginning of your practice, the media is in the practice, and so the stage is different. It feels different, but we've got to normalize things as much as possible. We've got to lean into the things that have helped make us successful, which is hard, fast, unselfish, solid play, and we've got to do a good job in the possession areas. And you don't know how often you're going to get to the NBA Finals. I mean, you can have a great young team. It can seem like you have this runway, and you just never know. So we've got to really embrace this opportunity and come out guns blazing.
When was the time you noticed that this team could go on a run? Was there a time this year where you were like, because post All-Star break, your guys' record is top 2 in the league or whatever. You guys were the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the league going into the playoffs. Was there a time where you're like, you know what, this team has a chance. Maybe we maybe we do take a real run at this. Because last year, you guys make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Nobody was expecting it. Get swept by the Boston Celtics. Nobody celebrates the fact that you guys got to the Eastern Conference. Kind of just gets forgotten about. This year started a little slow. You talk about Tyrese being injured, not maybe showing up to the season in the greatest physical shape that he could be in because of what he was dealing with in the offseason. Then you guys get hot. Was there a time during the season where you thought to yourself, okay, this is the team that we thought we could be after last year?
Well, I felt coming into the season that the NBA is kind of structurally changing a little bit. There's been amazing parity the last several years. I believe the last 7 champions have been it's been a different champion each year, and so the way the league is going was heading that direction. We liked our pieces. We felt getting Mathurin back was going to be a positive for us because he missed the entire playoffs last year. But again, you never know, and you get humbled early with a tough schedule. The Paris trip was challenging because it was a great trip, and we split with a team that's going to be a great team in this league and is building toward that direction right now. But that was 2 games in 9 or 10 days, and so it put compression at the beginning of the schedule and a little bit toward the end, and so we had to deal with that. So, you try to problem solve your way through it. You certainly have to lean on your veterans and your leaders in tough times to keep everybody's vibe up and for those guys to stay positive, which they did. And then, you try to give yourselves the best chance that you can. And January was key for us because there were no back-to-backs. We became healthier. I think we had the best record in the league that month, and then we were able to keep it going a little bit, as the year went on.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. We appreciate you so much. I got a chance to meet your wife on Saturday night. We shared an elevator alongside my wife as we were heading up. Her vibes were immaculate. I thanked her for what her and you have done for our city. And keep rolling, Coach. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Well, punch her in the arm when you see her next time.
Coach, Jesus. All right, I know we're trying to make a tough team out here, but maybe not now. Good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate you.
All right, appreciate you guys. Be well. Take care.
Hey, respect. Respect, man. Ladies and gentlemen, NBA champion, Coach Carlisle.
Hey,
You already gave us one of those.
Yeah.
At least I gave it to you last time.
Exactly.
I'm a little worried.
I'm not doing that again.
I'm a little worried you didn't give it back.
No, well, it's not the end of the season.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Last year they didn't win.
Last year they got swept when he did it. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's probably why he doesn't dish it out anymore.
It's like when Connor McDavid, didn't touch
Charles Robinson.
Clarence Campbell.
Clarence, not Charles.
Robinson.
Chuck Robinson.
Yeah,
Western
Chuck Schwab,
Conference Final,
the whole thing. And then he touched it this year. One change up to Mojo. Coach Carlisle smiling at the end of that series was wild.
Yeah.
He's not a big smiler.
No.
He is a locked in.
Even right there.
Yeah,
He's
super locked in. Yeah, as him listening to the questions, like every word, I want to listen to this, make sure we get a good answer out here. He's an intense guy. Been to the finals 6 times. He's been there, done that. And I think the boys have a respect for that. Like, hey, if he says it, it's going to work. We assume it's going to work. I don't think he's friends with the players either. I think it's a vastly different relationship. I think he's coach. They are player. We're going to keep rolling. Obviously, they have respect for each other. And congrats to Herb Simon, the owner of the Pacers. There was a tweet about his last 12 months, basically, what the Pacers ownership group has been able to accomplish over the last 12 months. Obviously, the All-Star game, Caitlin Clark has come to town. The Pacers have reached conference finals now back-to-back years. Now they're reaching the finals. He goes into the Hall of Fame and longest tenured owner, and then he'll host the WNBA All-Star game, and his family will. I got a chance to meet him after his first time, get a chance to meet him. Just, such a jolly, just so kind. So that trophy's heavy, though. They put this trophy in this guy's hands, and he's supposed to just hold it out like he's like some sort of cruel and unusual punishment. He's like, get this thing the hell, it's way too heavy.
90 years old.
I mean, it's the weight of the world is in here, but it actually is like 40 pounds, I think, or 35 pounds or something like that, their trophy. So it was, everybody was kind of dragging it around, not just doing a big ball dance. Congrats to the Pacers. We're thankful for them doing it here in Indy, and can't wait to watch the finals. Congrats to Oklahoma City. Cannot wait to see how you guys play. Now, there was other sports that took place over the weekend. Baseball had a big one. I don't know if you know this, but the Yankees and the Dodgers had a 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Dodgers won the series 2-1, but there was some magic that took place over the weekend, Ty.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just a fan of baseball in general, you're starting to get into it. We've talked about this time and time again and kind of why baseball's been awesome so far this year. The best players are performing. Friday night, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. In the top half of the first inning, Aaron Judge hits a 450-plus foot homer to center field to start the series. And then in the bottom half of the inning, yeah, you can see, just a monster shot from Judge there. And then answering right away, Shohei in the bottom of the first off Max Fried, who is the Yankees ace.
Boom!
Yeah, he goes yard.
That's exactly what the MLB wants, right?
Without a doubt. And because we talked about a bunch, and people were bitching like, hey, this type of game shouldn't be on Apple TV. It should be on, ESPN or Fox or whatever. People act like no one has Apple TV, which is kind of a joke, but that's, neither here nor there. But it was also a 10-10 start time, and you also had other stuff going on, other sports, so it did kind of get buried a little bit. But the weekend as a whole, they couldn't have asked for a better showcase. Ohtani hits 2 homers in that Friday night game against the Yankees. Judge hits 1. And then on Saturday, the Dodgers beat the hell out of the Yankees, but Judge hits 2 homers. And then last night on Sunday Night Baseball, it was just a great game. Very entertaining, back and forth. Both Shohei and Aaron Judge go hitless last night, and it was kind of the supporting cast who came in and did their damage. But overall, a lot of people saying, hey, this is a potential World Series preview of this upcoming year. It was obviously the World Series last year. And I think overall, just for the state of baseball, you could have done a lot worse. All the stars were there. All the stars played, which is huge. And for the most part, outside of that Saturday game that was kind of a punt, Yankees gave up 9 runs in like the first inning, and obviously Shohei, he's got a new baby at home, so he's very, very sleepy. Obviously,
yeah, 18-2.
Exactly.
Can we end this game? Is there not some mercy rule in this entire thing?
Exactly. So if you take that out, which is kind of just a throwaway. Overall, this is exactly what baseball needed. Now, it would have been nice if that Friday night game was a 7-10 first pitch and not 10-10, but overall, all 3 games on national TV, it was great.
Okay, so not just professional baseball, obviously having their stars. College baseball is happening right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's big news, historic news. The number 1 and number 2 overall seeds. Right? Is this the first time, long time?
Yeah, so it's the first time since 1999 when they introduced national seeding that the first overall seed, who was Vanderbilt this year, got eliminated. Great highlight here. You can see a pop fly to end the game from Wright State, who not a bad team, but again, these SEC teams, we've talked about it after COVID, with the beers going crazy, like they pack out these stadiums. Vanderbilt, first number 1 nationally ranked seed to not make it to the Super Regionals ever. So, they're supposed to win. It's at Vanderbilt. It's at their home stadium. They're supposed to win. They don't. Wright State upsets them. And then later, Texas, the number 2 overall seed, they get eliminated by Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, making their first ever appearance in the Super Regional. So this is just the first round. We still have another, after the Super Regionals, we'll get the teams who are going to Omaha. But if you're just kind of like an ancillary fan of baseball, this time of the year watching college baseball, it is incredible.
On that note, West Virginia baseball.
Yeah.
Kentucky, where are they from? What conference?
They're in the SEC.
Oh, really?
Best one, right?
Well. West Virginia. Dahn, 12-8 in the 8th inning. Gavin Kelly hits a single to make it 12-10. Oh, no, the boys are back in town. Bottom of the 8th. 9 innings, obviously, in baseball. But all of a sudden, the bottom of the 8th, it gets a little sketchy. 12-8. Now it's 12-10. Now, because of Ben Lumsden, he hits a single to make it 12-12, and the West Virginia faithful are going ape shit for baseball. Now it's a tie game, bottom of the 8th. They can't continue to, can they? Yes, they can. Armani Guzman. He hits a single to make it 13-12. Scoreless 9th inning for both teams. West Virginia knocks out Kentucky in a double elimination first round battle. And West Virginia has a 5-run 8th inning to come back from being down to take the lead. And the Mountaineers march on. Vandy, gone. Texas, gone. gone. Kentucky, gone.
What?
West Virginia, rolling. Shout out to college baseball.
Huge for West Virginia, too, because I believe they were slated to play Texas in the Super Regional if Texas would have advanced. So now they're going to be going, they have UTSA instead. There is a very good chance that West Virginia makes College World Series.
They need to figure out how to celebrate. That was some of the shittiest celebrations I've ever seen.
They weren't ready.
The boys were jacked. It was 12-8 in the eighth. They thought this was over. They weren't ready to do the entire thing.
Oh.
You have a 5-run inning. I didn't know that was
Two
possible.
outs. Whole rally was with 2 outs.
I had no idea that was possible in baseball. Love that. I was not watching the game live. Should have been, obviously. I was just seeing WVU baseball tweets that were popping up in my algorithm. Yeah, there's a couple people that fall. Good joy here. Should have just ended it.
Probably a good thing, too, because in the grand scheme of things, they really haven't won shit. This is more where they're trying to go.
Look at them carrying Gatorade in the water. Power. Yeah, nobody gets it. No. Yeah, and we just dump it on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What do you want? We had 5 runs in the 8th inning with 2 outs. We've already done our magic. We don't need to be dumping Powerade on anybody. Save that for the next round. Huge win, though, over Kentucky. And it's not just college baseball that's electrifying. It's also college women's softball season we need to be watching.
Yeah, without a doubt. We talked about Oklahoma a little bit on, I think it was Friday. Yeah. Another, just packed weekend of college softball action. The biggest kind of takeaway was the Tennessee and UCLA game.
Drama.
Yeah, a little bit of drama. Who is this again, Connor?
Megan Grant.
Yeah, so Megan Grant hits a 2-run blast. She's one of the big boppers for UCLA. She was 0 for 9 in the tournament coming in. She hits a 2-run homer, late to tie this thing up.
First pitch.
Yeah, first pitch in the last inning. They need this, otherwise they're done. She rounds the bases and gets jacked up, celebrates with her teammates. But
oh no.
She didn't step on home plate.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was excited. Both feet could have technically touched it because she did like a little skippity step in there. Back foot could have touched it. Front foot could have touched it. Somehow, both cleats do not touch home plate.
Correct.
But they celebrate big. And I don't know, one thing led to another. They end up reviewing this to see if this should count or not.
Yeah, they showed Tennessee's dugout because they immediately were like, yeah, she definitely didn't touch home plate. And long story short, there's a review basically where if someone on base,
Is that Spanx?
it is.
Yeah. That's Spanx?
Yeah.
That's Spanx on the field?
Yeah.
That's Spanx.
Oh, yeah, let's college football playoff Spanx.
Wow.
Oh,
Same
wow.
fit. He's got the same fit on.
And he's potentially blocking an angle, so he needs to watch his shit.
Maybe
Get out of the way, Spanx. This ain't about you.
Might be a UCLA fan. We don't know.
Who
got
knows?
to review
Trying to
it.
block the
Yeah,
angle.
exactly.
Anyways, they go back for the review.
They review it, and there is a rule where, basically another runner, you can see here, who was on base, guides her to home plate to make sure she touches it, so it's not an automatic out. They review it, and the umpire says, hey, she did miss home plate, but this actually isn't a reviewable call. So the runs will stand 4-4. We're going to extras.
Appendix G actually states that this is not reviewable, even though they do review it. And the promo from the ump after the review, something special, because he goes and says the call is upheld or whatever. So the UCLA people go crazy. And then he goes, after review, we noticed that she did not touch home plate. She was guided back to home plate. Now, the Tennessee fans are like, what are we even talking about? Then he says, but we found out through Appendix G, not reviewable, actually. So everything we just did, waste of time.
Yeah.
But with that being said, count it. We're going to extra innings. Tennessee would go on to win.
Yeah, Tennessee walks them off in extras, and so now we're down to the double elimination round. Oklahoma's still alive. They have one loss, though. They play Texas Tech today, I believe. Ooh. So they have to beat Texas Tech twice, but I know that Texas Tech's got an absolute dog out there.
Yeah, Kennedy, they're a pitcher. $1 million woman, actually. Got $1 million in NIL transfer from Stanford. She had, I believe, Gilman gave up 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, also hit a double. So she's a weapon. Texas Tech, their first win in the World Series history. So this is the first time they're ever going to the semifinals, and like you said, double elimination. So it got to beat Oklahoma, or Oklahoma has a chance to beat them if they lose to them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Oklahoma's gonna have to. I don't believe they've lost yet. So Oklahoma has to at least beat them twice.
We respect and appreciate college ball and stick sports in this time carrying us whenever there isn't a playoff game at night. The NHL Stanley Cup Finals begins
on Wednesday night. First rematch since Penguins Red Wings. I believe a lot of people are saying, Crosby, very similar. He played against the Red Wings in the second years when he won his first cup. So they're saying McDavid, it might be his time now. But yeah, very jacked up for this, and everyone's going back to last year where Chucky said, "Hey, we'll see you next season, baby," and this is it. And now we go.
You see the Oilers up there; they're minus 125. That is for Game 1 and also the series. They are minus 125 in the series.
Really?
Yeah, Connor McDavid is the favorite at minus 115 to win the Conn Smythe, which is the playoffs MVP. Bob is second favorite at plus 250 to win the Conn Smythe.
Let's go to golf. Scotty Scheffler racks up another tournament win.
Yeah, let's go.
The Memorial over there in Ohio. And obviously, Scotty, if he's on a course, we assume he's going to win. It was a muddy track all weekend. It had a nice Sunday. Scotty Scheffler ends up winning. Old Blake Griffin, who held the lead going into the weekend, he finishes second. Congrats to him. Straka, Taylor, and Henley round up the top 5. Here's Jack talking about Scotty Scheffler's big win in Jack's tournament in Columbus, Ohio.
Now, looking at the leaderboard today, he didn't have. I mean, Ben Griffin's a nice player. Straka is a nice player. Nick Taylor's a nice player. Those are all the guys that were there basically coming down the stretch. But he knows that those guys, are not in his league. Now, if he'd have had, I don't know who else it might have been, but if somebody else at the top, or Xander or somebody like that would have been there, he might have said, well, that might be a little tougher. I might have to do something different. He didn't have to.
Okay.
And I think I just asked Scotty if he watched the leaderboard. He says, yeah, I do. I said, well, I did too. I always watched the leaderboard and found out what my competition was. And I always felt like what level I had to play to fight that competition off. And sometimes you didn't have to fight it off because you knew they'd self-destruct.
You see.
And so, so you just don't make dumb mistakes and play solid golf and you win.
Jack Nicklaus is saying Scotty Scheffler definitely won. Okay, I'm not saying he didn't win. But for the tournament that I put together and I host here, it would have been nice to have a couple bigger. Straka's a good boy. He's a sweet boy.
Solid boy.
But he sucks.
That's not what Jack said.
That's what I took.
He said he's a good ball player. He's a good ball player. But, some of these guys are going to self-destruct. Scotty Scheffler knows that. So maybe Scotty doesn't have to be as aggressive. Now, Scotty Scheffler is known to be aggressive, though. He'll be up 6, and he's still going for the green, going for the pin. And I think what Jack was saying was there was Scotty never had a moment where he was like, oh, no, there might be somebody to come run up on me in this thing. Now, he didn't mention Rory's name, right? Rory did not come to the Memorial. It was an elevated event, Jack's event. So a lot of people were like, Rory and Jack maybe have a little bit of heat. But I think Jack was talking to the bigger story about where golf is currently with the run that Scotty's having. Because I think Jack doesn't want it to be tarnished. I think Jack doesn't want people to hold over Scotty's head. Scotty, you're not playing against a full field any of these weeks because I think he has massive respect for Scotty. But Scotty hasn't had the opportunity to have to dominate everybody in the world because of the current state of golf.
Yeah, obviously Jack, Bear can say whatever the hell he wants to say, and he will, and he's been holding this tournament for a long, long time. But he also mentioned that Scotty is playing, even better than Jack played during his time because of the competition that's out there week in and week out. And maybe it is some things with Rory not showing up and not being there and whatnot. But Scotty, whether to me, he plays like boring golf. His version of boring golf is still elite. He's an elite ball striker off the tee, obviously going into the greens. And then when he's putting decent, he's going to win by a handful of strokes. So he's incredible. But I do love what Jack said. And it's just kind of like what we say every time we have an extended conversation about golf is we want to see the best players playing against each other as often as possible. And some of those best players are in, live right now, and hopefully we can get them all together at some point. But Scotty, what he's doing is unbelievable. A long, long way to go to catch Tiger, but he is unbelievable.
He has to win 55 of 109 events now. Had to win 56 of 110.
Yeah.
He already knocked one off, so now he's got to win 55 of 109. And, the elevated PGA events to catch Tiger, insane. The elevated PGA events were supposed to be like the majors of the PGA Tour. So, Rory not playing in that is an interesting conversation. I hope Rory's okay. I hope Rory's all right mentally, physically. I hope everything like that. But I think Jack is getting a little bit worried. Hey, we put up a massive purse here.
$20 million.
Yeah, we put up a lot. $4 million is what Scotty won. There was a lot more money out there for everybody else. This was supposed to be the elevated events. So everybody in the PGA you would think was supposed to be there. So Jack probably a little bit like, hey, come on, like this is what we're trying to do in this entire thing, because if not for the elevated events, the only thing we can really look forward to for Scotty to take on all the greats is the majors. And it's like the majors are where the live players are also at, but also all the big time PGA players are at. So I think there's a lot of convo right now, and I don't care, because if I see Scheffler on the leaderboard, I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to watch. I'm going to have it on at least in the background, and I'm going to hear people talk about something incredible that Scotty does. So it's certainly good for golf. But I do like that the old heads in golf were like, hey, boys, what do we do? We drove in RVs from tournament to just like every sports OGs back in my day.
Yeah.
Back in my day. I love the golf really has a back in my day situation right now, because it would have been nice if Phil Mickelson would have won and played in some other tournament, Tiger could say, so then I don't even have to worry about him. And it's like Scotty's still winning these tournaments in my eyes.
Yes.
If everybody's here, but we'll never know. I guess that's what Jack's saying. We'll never know.
Exactly. And I guess maybe we don't, but even if Rory's there, even if everyone is there, you assume Scotty plays even better. But you need
Exactly. That's how I view it.
Yeah, like he's still gonna, kind of raise his level of play to everyone else. But even just Rory's not enough. Obviously, you want him there. He's a big name. He just won the Masters, but you need more than that. And you need people like Jack to come out and say, like, hey, this is bullshit, basically. Like, this isn't the competition that we've been used to forever. Now we have the guy, which it felt like there wasn't in that little in-between period with Tiger. But now there is the guy, the clear number one. But he doesn't, there's no clear, number two, number three, especially when, Rory's not showing up. Yeah,
it's bobbling over there. Go ahead, John.
But no, I think it could have been a little shot at Rory, because at literally every single person, everyone else on the PGA Tour was there. Like Xander was there, Colin Morikawa was there, Cantlay was there, Oberg was there. They just didn't play well. So when that happens, those are the times that you kind of miss. Oh, if Bryson was there or Rahm was there, that gives you just more.
Brooks probably go on a run too.
It just gives you more chances to compete with Scotty. Because right now, he's on a absolute different level.
Yeah, need to watch him though. Should watch him. If you're just a fan of sport, what you're watching right now is a great in his prime.
He doesn't make mistakes.
And it is, even when he does, he figures out a way to get around it. It's unbelievable.
They said this about Tiger back in the day, too. They said the competition wasn't good. So Scotty's just going to keep winning, and everyone's going to keep saying shit.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're at the top of the mountain, I guess, is when it's the breeziest, and Scotty is certainly up there. I also like that he's got a little bit of moxie.
Yes.
I like Scotty's got a little bit more moxie, and I think his baby had a big old dump, too.
Yeah,
so congrats to the entire Scheffler family, kind of getting it all out there. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Speaking of greats in their prime, did you guys hear what happened to Magnus Carlsen?
No.
Uh-oh.
What?
He's the number one super grandmaster chess player.
Yeah, world number one.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's world number one. He got beat by Gukesh.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, Gukesh run a close Sicilian, and Magnus Carlsen punches the table, flips a couple of the pieces, and walks off as a loser. Is Gukesh, maybe I'm the grand king now. Maybe I'm the super duper king of this thing now. Okay? Even Magnus Carlsen can't take my shit. So if he loses once, he's no longer the greatest. Is that how it works? Or
Nope.
This is, I believe this
that was disrespectful.
No.
He's Magnus.
I love how he called himself. Then he got to shake his hand. Good sportsmanship.
Let's out a cat. Oh my God, right there as well. Incredible scene.
I did hear the oh my God there. Magnus, we want to let you know we appreciate all that you did for chess as the world number one. You really represented it well, and we appreciate your passion. But I think it's Gukesh time, bro. That's what I think. And I've been calling this since I seen Gukesh sit down for the first time.
You did say that. You said, hey, we got a future grandmaster here, boys. Open your eyes up.
I was watching Queen's Gambit, and they just popped in on Gukesh out there in the park. And I seen a guy move into things better than everybody else. And I'm like, shit, if Magnus Carlsen's got to run into Gukesh when Gukesh is having a good night, there might be a new king of chess. Who's the best? Gukesh in all of chess. That is the way it works. Gukesh, 19 years old.
Yeah, he's a prodigy. I don't love that they have him playing with the peasants. They should be in some sort of arena in the center, I think, because, you probably think Carlsen, he's like, what, are we playing in the park? Or, am I taking on a future grandmaster? This should be in front of 50 to 100,000 people.
Yeah, congrats to Gukesh. Also, congrats to Mark Caboli. Had the big scoop on the TJ Watt contract offer is available for TJ. TJ obviously has not agreed to it, or he would have signed it, but allegedly negotiations are ongoing. That is Steelers correspondent for the Pat McAfee Show, also contributor to WWE.com, Mark Caboli. Shout out to Caboli and Mac breaking that news. And I am going to go pay my respects to a friend that passed away and left a legacy of greatness. AJ Hawk will be on the other side. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice that might change their life. I'll see you tonight at Raw. Goodbye. roads leading to Eugene, and I can't help but say, hey, 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 hey. You make me want to jump, put my hands up and pick my heels up and all again now. A little bit something now, 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 a little bit louder 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 now, a little bit louder. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great day in Oregon. You know, we're gonna can it. OH! We are! We are! We are! Thank you. I love this. Let me go ahead and cock that thing. Boom on! Boom on! Ah! Boom! Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Roughnecks. We got engineers, we got doctors, we got economists. We got real tests that have real implications happening. And all of these sons of said, give me college game day. Instead of studying, I had some questions about coming out here to Berkeley, but after experiencing it, it is very evident that this is one of the best cities in this here United States of America. USA, 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 USA. And this represents everything that is great with this country, with our sport. It doesn't matter which way you view the world. It doesn't matter which part of the country you're from. College football runs through our soul. And that is what a celebration today is all about. I am thankful to be here amongst these nerds and future geniuses and future people that are going to run this place. It's an honor to be in Berkeley. It's fun.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey. What? Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome back, hour 2 of the Pat McAfee Show. I'm AJ Hawk sitting in for Pat at his desk as he celebrates the life of Jim Irsay, a great, great man. Sports! It's what we do here, boys. Pat, unfortunately, had to take off. He's going to the memorial/funeral service. I'm not exactly sure what is happening with it, but Jim Irsay, huge loss in the NFL community. So, thoughts to he and his whole family and everyone that will be attending that today. Pat had to take off and go to that before he heads to Tulsa for Monday night Raw tonight. That should be an exciting night, boys. It really should.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful first hour by you guys. We enjoyed it. I got to see a lot of it here. You know what? You guys are really doing it, Ty.
Thank you.
You really are, Ty. You guys are doing great. It's a Toxic Table. Ty Schmidt, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, Hogger.
Are you?
Great Monday. Hey, what a way to start the week. It's always a nice little surprise when you get to come in the studio. And like you said, usually, we don't get to chop it up for a little bit like that. So I'm excited. Great weekend of sports. Really, what's there to complain about? Nothing.
Nothing to complain about. Obviously, you guys documented it very much in the first hour how well the Indiana Pacers. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
This place is buzzing. I pulled into town today. This place is absolutely buzzing. I see Mitt back here still talking about it. Some boys went to the celebration, right? Saturday night after the game. I see people spill into the streets. Is Indiana a basketball town now for life again? I know it's always has been a basketball town, but now we're rejuvenated.
It's the state of basketball, brother. Okay, so this ain't a basketball town. It's a basketball state, man. And yes, it was very cool. Leaving the game, there's a hotel right across the street. It was flooded. And it was like this for a long time.
Were they trying to get this crowd? I heard they were trying to get people out of here, and they said, "No, we're here all night."
I don't think they were trying to get people out. You can see up there where the cop cars are. That's not. That's normal, rather. Usually they will, no matter what, block off the street just because there's so many people leaving the games. But obviously in this situation, everyone was, sticking around, hanging out outside. It's a nice little area with bars and stuff right there, so people started going everywhere. The Tin Whistle was, packed to the gills per usual.
What was that again? What's it called?
The Tin Whistle, if you will.
That's one of the local establishments that you guys enjoy?
One of the local watering holes. Daniel Jones frequents there.
Nice.
Some others as well. But no, it was a wonderful celebration. Cool to just kind of witness it. Personally, I've never been at a game where it's been like a closeout of a series or to go to the finals or something along those lines. So it was very sweet. But you're playing a little injured today, Hawker.
What do you mean?
Everyone's saying you're bad.
No, I'm going to probably stand the majority of this time. Standing, sitting. Sometimes every once in a while your back just decides to lock up and something happens and you can't really move or bend over or stand up or sit down or lay down. But you know what? Driving here today, it felt better than I thought. I thought that might be a little bit. Tone Diggs.
How are you?
You tell me. I know you've had some back injuries in the past. You're a huge athlete. You were an athlete. I watched you go through the blaster at an Indianapolis Colts training camp last year. Very explosive movement. Yep. I'm sure you feel good, but you've had some back injuries in the past.
Yeah, I have, but I have an app now. It reminds you to stretch every single night. So I do what?
Nothing. I believe you. I actually believe that you do.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock every night.
It pops up and says, "Hey, Tone, stretch."
Yes, exactly. 9 o'clock every single night it pops up, and then I go through my stretching routine. So it's really helped. If you want me to show you it, show you some exercise stuff like that, I can.
Yeah, maybe later in the first hour. I know we have Jet Passon joining us here in about 12, 13 minutes. I think he'll actually maybe when Jet's here. You can come here and stretch for us. Do some cat and camel. I know we saw Tony Romo doing some cat and camel on the side of a green at a U.S. Open qualifier, I believe, last year. But boys, we've had some news that I got to talk to somebody here in the back room. He might be. I think it's a tough day for some Detroit Lions fans. Foxy, so. Frank Ragnow, all-pro, unbelievable center for the Detroit Lions, a centerpiece for what this team is and how he sets the tone for everybody. Just an absolute road grader. He decides today, comes out, we hear that he is officially retiring after 7 years in the NFL. Foxy, why don't you tell the people that aren't as diehard Lions fans as you are, what this guy meant to the team and what his production on the field and also what he brings off the field?
Yeah, Frank Ragnow is the definition of Detroit football. He's gritty. He's tough. Great teammate. Fans loved him. He played through injury. I'm pretty sure one year he had a broken throat. Last year he had a torn pec. Most guys would have been out for weeks. He played right through it, didn't miss a single game. The guy was everything you want, not only in a football player, but in the trenches. And Detroit fans love him especially because he was there when we sucked. Okay, he was there when this team couldn't find ways to win. He was there when we were the same old Lions, and he helped us go from that. And MCDC gets hired, and he builds the brand new Lions. I am thankful and grateful for what Frank Ragnow did for us, and I'm just glad he got to see success. I'm glad he got to see what Detroit was like, and the fans were like before and after how good we got. So thank you, Frank. This is a bummer. Only 29 years old. So, and we drafted a guy in the second round this year, Tate Ratledge, out of Georgia. He has the mullet. I'm sure you've seen him on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be the guy that might come in and fill in for center. So we'll see if he can do that. But yeah, we're going to miss Frank Ragnow a lot.
Yeah, the NFL is obviously going to miss Ragnow, old school throwback type player, road grader, the kind of offensive lineman you want. Now, Ratledge, though, Tone, I've been hearing he's been taking first team reps at center throughout OTA so far for this Lions team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he anchored that Georgia offensive line that was very, very good for a long time. And then he had a great combine, not only with the mullet flowing, but also like testing off the charts. So he went in the second round, and there's a lot of great second round centers. But as far as like odds are concerned, it hasn't changed anything for the Lions just yet. They're still favorites to win the NFC North. They're second in the NFC to win the NFC behind the Eagles. Their over-under is 10.5. So even with...
What are you taking? Taking over-under?
I haven't looked at the schedule yet, to be honest.
It's very tough.
See,
it's incredibly tough.
I haven't dove into it yet, but there's been a lot of turnover, not only on the offensive line, but now both coordinators are gone. Aaron Glenn.
That's the question.
And what's his name? Chicago.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Thank you very much. So like with that turnover, I mean, it could be a step back. I mean, they're still favored or not favored. They're still the over win total is 10.5 games. They don't think they're going to be the old Lions, but there's definitely some change up in Detroit. But as long as MCDC is under the helm, they're going to be good to go.
I suppose they may have seen this coming because they drafted Ratledge. But Foxy, like for you, like is this out of nowhere? Or did you have any idea that this might be coming?
So Frank wasn't at camp, and everyone thought it was a contract thing. So they all thought he wanted more money. One of the best centers in the league, deservedly so. And then when this news comes out that he retires, everyone's like, okay, it had nothing to do with that. And then also in years past, because of his injury history, there has been some talks of him retiring early. Did I expect it to happen this year when this team is so good and can win a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But in his Instagram post, he talks about how he wishes he could play. He just literally has to listen to his body, prioritize his health, and he just can't do it. So it must be pretty bad.
And the fact that he says in the very first line that these past couple of months have been very trying for him. So he didn't go into the offseason, I'm sure, planning on retiring, but he probably thought, okay, I need to find a way to get this. I don't know exactly what the injury was that put him over the top where he wasn't unable to play. Do we know? I mean, when you look at his list of injuries and it says fractured throat.
Yeah. So many injuries.
Like, come on now, that's unbelievable.
Well, he said in the thing, too, he's like, I'd like to say that my body feels okay, but it doesn't. So he just must be hurting everywhere.
Yeah, and the fact that he thought he could kind of fight through it or rehab through all this stuff. I guess it's probably so many things that just add up on top of each other. Like, okay, if I fix this, if I get my knee feeling good, doesn't matter, my back sucks. If I get my back fixed, my throat, I got a fractured throat he's still trying to rehab, I would imagine.
Do you still think the Lions should be the favorites in the NFC North?
Are they the favorites in the NFC North?
They are. The sports books have them there, and obviously they have the questions at the coordinator positions. The Vikings have a new quarterback question. The Bears have a new coach question. The Packers, they're probably the team with the least amount of questions, I assume.
Receiver still, probably. I mean, that was like the bit. I mean, I know they added Matthew Golden, but that was kind of the whole thing last year. The receivers kind of underperformed, and then Love still needs to make that next step and kind of perform like a $55 million a year quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I get the biggest question for me, Tom, would be the fact that the Lions replaced both their coordinators. I mean, that's what happens to great, especially teams that go from not good to becoming like a stable team that you can count on, most likely making the playoffs and making a run. Like they're going to pilfer your roster, they're going to take your coaches, and they're going to take some free agents away from you that are going to sign with other teams. So how do you find a way to have consistent success?
Well, and I don't know about the defensive side. Obviously, they've drafted very well, but are we sure Hutch is completely back too? That's
he says he is.
McNeil as well. McNeil tore his ACL late in the season. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but even with the ACL, I feel like the ACL has become more of a common thing to the point where you can come back and basically be what you were. Like that leg was so bad. I feel like I at least forgot about it till he came back and had that little sprint workout thing, and then you kind of saw the clips coming back of when it really happened. That was terrible. Have you ever played with anyone who's had an injury like that where, I guess when you were playing, there's a chance that would actually end
career
a career.
Yeah.
It could. It feels like, the Dak injury was just as bad and same field, but not a cramp as well. But it does feel as though if Hutch it doesn't come back 100%, and then maybe J.J. McCarthy is great, then the Vikings are kind of in the front seat of the North. But with to Tony's point, MCDC is still there, and MCDC kind of starts and finishes that culture. And they, Ragnow is unbelievable. Penei Sewell is still the best lineman on that O-line. So I feel like no matter what, the Lions are still kind of that team to beat, but that's damn near the best division in the entire NFL.
Yeah, we're going to be watching early on, I think, in the season to see, hey, what does this offense look like without Ben Johnson at the helm or, calling the plays? What's the defense look like when Kelvin Shepard gets named defensive coordinator? Mm-hmm. Are they still the same team? But, yeah, you're a product of your success. You're good. They're going to take your coaches. That's what they do.
Yeah, do I expect them to go 15-2 again? Absolutely not. The schedule is much more difficult. But new offensive coordinator Johnny Morton basically said, I'm not changing anything here. I might add a couple of wrinkles, but the offense is going to look the same. And at the end of the day, as long as that O-line's blocking and you can pound the rock, we'll be just fine.
For Shepard, he's in-house. Is Johnny Moe in-house?
No, but he has history with MCDC. I believe Johnny Moe came from the Broncos last year.
Oh, yeah, there it is. How much easier is it for Detroit because they just hired Shepard, who was linebackers coach, I think? Yeah. Who's already inside the building.
Yeah, he's a good player himself as well. It works. It can work all different ways. It can not work all different ways, whether you're hiring in-house or not. But for the players on that team, I think when you hire from within and you don't have to change the scheme, it definitely cuts out some of the garbage of a new guy coming in with new terminology. It's just terminology. Like everyone kind of runs similar things. I'm sure you've heard it, but it's like learning a different language. When another playbook comes in, we used to call this Bama. Now it's called Tulsa. Like things like that. Just one word, little situations like that.
You would assume at the very least, too, that they won't get snake bit by injuries defensively like they did last year. I mean, like that,
You'd hope. I mean, sometimes
like
it's
15,
just
16 guys. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like this year, you would expect that to kind of go the other direction. I mean, I suppose it's possible it happens again, but I don't think that they're going to be losing, 8 starters.
I believe it was 21 guys on IR.
Yeah, it's
just
crazy.
on the defensive side. So
what is that? I'm sure they sit there and have like a self-scout and they study what made this year so different.
Probably
why did so many dudes get hurt? You think it was?
MCDC drive the boys too hard.
Maybe not enough up downs.
I don't know.
They don't want to hear that. Any Lions player don't want to hear that right now. They're pissed. They're pissed at me probably.
Yeah, probably a nightmare. Maybe Aaron Glenn. He's so confusing. They were.
Well, AJ wouldn't blame Aaron Glenn. You were saying that earlier. That you were just so mad at Aaron Glenn for not meeting with Aaron Rodgers for longer.
Oh yeah,
man, that was funny when Aaron brought that up on the show when he was on a month or two ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you fly all the way out there.
What's he doing?
Yeah, you talked.
What is Aaron doing? What is it?
You tell us.
I know you guys do like to come at me and think I have any information on Aaron Rodgers.
Well, you're the only one with his phone number.
Okay, that's false. You guys all, I'm sure, are in contact with him all the time.
No.
Yeah, you are. Ty's been singing Mike Stud all day long. Aaron and Mike Stud have a 5-day tour.
First of all, it's just Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's changed. Stud's gone.
Get it right or pay the price.
Amen.
Salute your shorts.
You're right. I thought there was some Mike Stud. That was a Mike Stud there.
No.
I'm sorry, Mike. He and Mike have been on this 5-6 day tour where they talk. They do like open podcasts, right? Q&A type
looks
situations.
like that. You tell us.
They put on concerts. I haven't been there in person. I'm not sure what's happened. But if he does play football, I would imagine Aaron would play for the Steelers, right? That seems like the only gig open.
Well, I'm pretty sure more people from Pittsburgh want him from the podcast, right? Isn't that?
What do you mean?
Isn't that
You mean after?
Yeah.
After Aaron was on stage answering those questions. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't. There's been a bit of a groundswell over the last few days for Aaron to sign now.
Oh, what happened?
Nothing specific. Just people really want a certain group of people now want Aaron more than they did a week ago.
A certain group. I mean,
that feels like breaking news.
Is that breaking? I mean, Tone's from you have your ear to the streets in Pittsburgh.
I am from Pittsburgh. I've seen Twitter activity.
What exactly happened to spur this action?
Yeah, I thought Mason was kind of getting some.
Mason standing up for steelworkers, right?
Well, so there's a certain group that is now pushing Mason harder, and there's a certain group that's now pushing Aaron harder.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And is it because of Aaron's actions or Mason's actions?
Mason's actions.
Because he was standing up for his steelworkers, saying, "Hey, I'm with you. This is what built America."
Correct.
So who is against that?
Who's against him?
That's a good question.
In the Burt.
That's a good question. Couldn't be me.
I don't know. This is all confusing to me. Good thing for us guys, we have a great guest that's waiting right now. He's hanging out on the line. He's sitting there. He probably knows what you're talking about, Tone, but let's let this guy come on. but great friend of the program, works for ESPN. He's actually the insider of all insiders. When it comes to anything baseball, this is who we go to. Please welcome Mr. Jet Pass.
Yeah, baby.
God, I love this. I dressed up for you, AJ.
Thank you.
This is a monumental day.
It is a monumental day, Jet. Now, I know you've been a bit cagey. We're gonna have to get right to it. You're a bit cagey on your tweets and everything you're doing on X. What's going on? The FBI's looking into stuff with the MLBPA, the NFLPA. What happened? What's going on? Any new information you have on this story?
AJ, we're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on. What we do know for sure is that there is an FBI investigation right now into the financial dealings of the Major League Baseball Players Association, the NFLPA, and this company that they created called One Team Partners that essentially serves to license the NIL for all of the players and try to make money. And they've done a phenomenal job of doing that so far. One of their original partners was named Redbird Capital, and Redbird Capital had a 40% stake in One Team Partners that it sold in 2022 at a $1.9 billion valuation. So this is big money that we're dealing with right now. And while we don't know the full scope of the investigation, anytime the FBI comes around asking questions of players, it's a big deal. And so this is a story that's unfolding right now, and we will keep digging in, myself and Dahn and try and get down to what the true facts really are.
So, Jet, you say the players are obviously not the targets of this investigation. Who are the targets? Can you name them? Do we know how many people are targeted?
I do not know at this point who these specific targets are, and I don't want to speculate on that right now.
You need to, but Jet. You can speculate.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. That's, that might be slander. It could be a defamation lawsuit. We've dealt with defamation lawsuits on this program before, I believe. So I would prefer not to get you guys in trouble. Myself, I don't care about that. But you guys, I don't want to do that to you.
Okay, I appreciate that, Jet. Now, Ty Schmidt has a question for you.
Yeah, Jet, what's the news going around about Orlando potentially wanting or potentially getting a new MLB team because of how many tourists go through that area and everything? But then, if I'm not mistaken, the MLB basically doesn't want a third team in Florida. Is that correct? And how likely or probable is this whole situation?
It's a really interesting question, Ty, and I was not expecting that one.
We'll get to the other one later.
We can. You know what? Why don't we answer? Come on, just give it to me now. It's like you're buttering me up.
Stop buttering
try to. No. Just rip off the Band-Aid. Let's hear it, Ty.
Well, listen,
stop teasing them.
Jet, yeah, okay, fine. We'll go back to Orlando in a little bit because I actually am very interested about that whole situation. But everyone knows, or at least I personally think, you're a bit of a Yankee hater because you're from Kansas City. I know you're a big Royals guy, but
not a big Royals guy.
Well, either you were at one time, maybe. No, actually, never mind. You're a Cleveland guy. Never mind. Excuse me. But that whole series, how good? Outside of the Saturday blowout game, which is kind of a dud throwaway, in your eyes, and for the overall good of baseball, how important was this weekend series with the Yankees and the Dodgers?
I just love it when two really good teams get after it, man. And that's what this weekend was. And I appreciate it very much that the Yankees got absolutely lambasted on Saturday and then came back against the Dodgers' best pitcher, the guy, who beat him in Game 2 of the World Series last year. We can go on and on about what Yoshinobu Yamamoto's been. What he was not is a New York Yankee, which Ty Schmidt once reported. But that being the case, they went after him, and they hit him hard. Ben Rice's home run to center field, I know it was a hanging splitter, but he hit the absolute snot out of that ball. And the Yankees showed they are a very, very good team. And the Dodgers, I think, showed, in spite of their injuries and the fact that they're behind the Cubs and behind the Mets. And, this isn't a team that's going to win 120 games like some people thought. They're still really good. And I would argue they're still probably the favorite to win the World Series at this point.
We're going to see him pitch anytime soon, Jet?
I hope so, man. He's throwing Shohei Ohtani's who we're talking about. And he's throwing bullpens right now. He's just, he's so good offensively. I just love watching every swing that he takes, because he takes these swings with intent and with purpose to punish baseballs. He wants to hit the seams out of them. And at his size and with his skill and all of the ability he has, I could watch Shohei Ohtani hit only for the rest of his career and be perfectly satisfied as a baseball fan. But the fact that he's back on the mound, throwing bullpens at this point, trying to ramp back up so that he can be ready for those important games come September and October, I think he's going to get there. But we got to remember, this is so much different than the typical pitcher who's trying to come back from major reconstructive elbow surgery. Those pitchers get to rehab just throwing, get to go down to the minor leagues and have 30 days to get their stuff together against live hitters in live situations with crowds. Ohtani has none of that. And so what the Dodgers have to do here is be extremely judicious and not push him too far, and hopefully have him ramping up in the games. First start maybe 50 pitches, and then after that 60, and then after that 70, slowly, because what he's trying to do here, it's uncharted territory.
Yeah, it is. But do we know, is Shohei pushing? Is he pushing the Dodgers to try to get out there earlier? Like, does he want badly to go out there and pitch?
I think he's being smart about it. And the interesting thing about Shohei Ohtani, AJ, is that throughout the course of his career, he has more or less dictated what he does, because there is no playbook. There is no script. Nobody knows how to handle two-way players and how to keep them healthy. And clearly that hasn't happened when it comes to his elbow. So I think going to the Dodgers in part, in addition to joining with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and this machine of player development that they have, part of it was that the Dodgers have really smart people in that organization. Now, they still haven't been able to keep all of their pitchers healthy. So it's not like the Dodgers have it cracked and figured out. But at least I think Shohei Ohtani knows when they bring him information, it's not just going to be guess. It's not just going to be speculation. Like, there will be logic behind the ideals that they have.
Jet, I know Ty was teasing you earlier, but what about the Orlando situation, possibly getting another Major League Baseball team? Is that on the horizon?
I can more or less promise that there will not be 3 teams in Florida, because right now they have 2 teams and neither of them is really drawing. The Rays, granted, are playing at Steinbrenner Field right now after Hurricane tore the roof off of Tropicana Field. But even when they were at the Trop, they weren't really drawing. And the Marlins, they have a new ballpark. They built it and they did not come. And yet, you look at the situation with the Rays guys, and they don't really have a stadium beyond 2026 at this point. The hope is that the Trop is going to be rebuilt in time to open the 2026 season and that they could play there. But if that's not the case, they're kind of homeless, and they're sort of just floating in the wind right now. And a lot of people believe that Stuart Sternberg, the owner of the Rays, after the stadium deal collapsed there, is going to sell the team eventually. And perhaps there would be a buyer in Orlando at that point who could bring the Rays over from the Tampa Bay area to Orlando. It's an hour drive. It's nearby. Obviously the Magic have been successful there, but in terms of getting a third team in Florida, not going to happen.
Okay. Boston Connor?
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you should tell them they could come up to Indianapolis, Indiana as well. There
I would love it.
Very nice baseball stadium here, even though I'm sure it would be a nightmare to play in. With all that being said, Jet, baseball aside, you had quite the night last night. And I know as we've been talking here, you've just been sitting waiting to address what you did. What the hell was this about? I mean, are you going to get sued for defamation for this guy? Because, boy, oh boy, you took him out to pasture. And I don't know if we have the next 2 as well, but Barry responded to your tweet and you went at it again. So what was this about? And was this one of your favorite Twitter interactions you've ever had? Because your bio says you bomb atomically, and it truly is something you do, because this was fantastic internet.
First off, thank you. That's a big compliment coming from you, and I sincerely appreciate that. Do you guys know who Barry is? Like, have you gotten buried before?
Is that McCockiner?
Oh, that's him.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Same guy.
Oh.
Yeah, same guy, just a new name. And look, if you can out-troll the ultimate troll, you got to take the opportunity to do so. And I have developed a reputation on X for being somebody who takes no prisoners, and I would like to continue to do that because, when people come at you, like the internet's a tough place, man. Like it is an unforgiving place. And, it's like in The Wire. You just got to protect your corners.
I get it. Jed. I get it. Tone Diggs, with that being said, you got something?
Yeah, speaking of protecting your corners, I'm not sure if you've seen, but Don Kelly has got the Buccos playing salty ball.
Love Donnie Kelly.
Yeah,
love him.
Salty ball.
Yeah, Bubba Chandler's going to be up soon, so look for a Buccos run soon. But team that's not going to make a run, the 9-50 Colorado Rockies. Is there a rule? Do they have to play all 162, or is there a chance that the teams that have to play them in the second half of the season just get an off day?
I mean, they kind of do, right?
Yeah. But they got to show up to the park.
Yeah, they do have to show up to the park. I just look at what's going on in Colorado right now, and it makes me sad. You talk with executives around baseball, guys, and they look at the Colorado Rockies job as being something that they would like to do when they're in like their frisky age of executive-dom. Like when they can go in there and just try and run experiments, because it's like you're playing on the moon when you're in Colorado. We ran a story on ESPN.com. Coors Field turned 30 years old this year, and we went and looked back and talked with players who had been there, pitchers, managers, hitters, opponents, everyone, and just got this collection of stories about how it's not like real baseball there. And so the things that you might be able to do if you are a curious and interested and thoughtful executive are manifold. And yet the Rockies, what they have is the disease of complacency. They have done nothing different. They have not changed things. They are not one of the clubs that's toward the top, the middle. They're right at the bottom when it comes to innovation. Dick Monfort, their owner, has talked about the idea, if there's not going to be a salary cap in baseball, of having a cap to spend on technology and other things of that ilk, which is just, it's wild. And I think it speaks to how the Rockies have been run for all this time. They're just an organization that's a decade plus behind right now. And some of that goes back to ownership, some of that goes back to front office, but there's a reason that they are where they are right now, and it's fascinating to see. I mean, we see records like this in the NBA every so often. Like if the team is really, really bad, they'll get to 50 losses before they get to double-digit wins. We've never seen this in baseball before. And considering that this is happening the year after the Chicago White Sox set the new record for futility, that we could potentially see that again, it's just a shame what's going on with the Rockies right now. And yet, they are drawing 30,000 people to that ballpark every day because it is a gorgeous park, and people in Denver just like having a good time and watching a baseball game, and I love them for that.
What technology would he be talking about? Like, hey, Jumbotron, like we don't want to have to upgrade this? Like, I don't get it. What is that about?
We're looking more at like analytical models, and
he's saying we need to spend less on that. He wants to spend less or more.
He wants everybody to be at like the same baseline. He doesn't want the teams that have more money to go out and for example, there's this pitching machine called the Traject, and what the Traject machine does is it takes all of the data that gets captured by the cameras around the ballpark and determines, the spin on a ball and the spin axis and the velocity down to a 1/10 of a mile per hour. It inputs all of this data into this machine, and this machine, through all the things inside, not only can replicate every pitch that was thrown in Major League Baseball this year, like to an exacting degree, but it also has an image on the front of the machine of that pitcher himself and his delivery.
Sounds
right?
Awesome. It's amazing.
So you can essentially take batting practice against the guy who you are going to be facing that night. there are some organizations that have multiple trajects. There are some organizations that have none. And I think the idea that Dick Monfort has is to level that playing field so everyone's the same. But, I mean, at what point do you stifle innovation by doing that? At what point is everything too similar? And I think it's a fair thing to say that this is a real problem in baseball, where if we're not encouraging teams to go out and be the absolute best that they can be at all times, what's the point of even playing the games? What's the point?
Ty?
Jet, the artist formerly known as Jack Tani when he was at Florida, Jack Caglione, is getting called up by the Royals. Now, I don't know, maybe for like casual fans, this is kind of like whatever, but you look at his numbers and what he's been doing in AA and AAA. Yep. Do you think he's the type of guy who's going to come in and make like an immediate impact and be like one of those future superstars in the next couple years? Because obviously if you watch him play, like, he is absolutely electric. Like, do you see him as being one of those really marketable guys who we'll talk about in like this, maybe not the same sentence, but like up there with the Judges and the Otanis of the MLB?
Ty, I know you said that this is the kind of guy that maybe the casual fan doesn't really know about. They should. And I think they're going to. Because let's put it this way. This is what Jack Caglione is. He is a guy who has the kind of power that Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani have. And there are very, very few guys in baseball who can say that. And even more, he has really good bat-to-ball skills. So he doesn't strike out a whole lot. The problem is Jack Caglione will go out of the zone and swing at pitches that are chases far more often than either you like to see, or far more often really than any productive or like MVP level Major League Baseball player does right now. And the reason that the Royals hadn't called him up at this point is because he was adjusting to a new position in outfield, and they wanted to see improvement in the chase. The guy is so skilled, though. 6'5", 250 pounds, like absolute unit. And even if he does not, Ty, get off to like an incredible start, he's going to hit a ball 450, 475 feet. Just like that you're going to see and say, oh my God, how does a human being do that? And when you have him and Bobby Witt Jr. in the same lineup together, if Jack Caglione is what evaluators believe he's going to be, the Royals are going to have perennial MVP candidates hitting back-to-back in that lineup.
Ooh. Jet, isn't that kind of like a reps thing, to where you're going to, as you get older, as you get more reps, you're going to stop chasing balls out of the zone? Like, isn't that kind of a normal progression for a young player?
Not always. It's a really fair question. You would think that would be something that every player, right, once they see more pitches at the big league level, would improve on. But it tends to be that chase stays the same unless guys really spend a lot of time and energy and effort working on it. And in Jack Caglione's case, it's really the only ding against him at this point. But it's about swing decisions and pitch recognition, AJ. And that's the sort of thing that as you get older, maybe it improves a little bit, but you don't tend to see those huge leaps where guys who swung a ton earlier in their career all of a sudden get much more judicious as they get older. It's kind of like, Tiger and Stripes. Like, you are the hitter that you are, and there can be some incremental improvements, but I don't think we're going to see the guy like turning into Juan Soto, who's swinging at only 15% of the pitches outside of the zone, as opposed to Caglione, who's at 35 or so.
Okay, all right. Boston Connor?
Yeah, Caglione, absolute weapon. I feel like I, as a casual, learned about him at the College World Series, Jet, and now, this past weekend, college baseball had a hell of a time. Is there a star of this tournament you kind of expect to really shine, to really go to put himself on the map, like Skeens-esque? I'm sure he's already on the map for the baseball people, but for the casuals, is there anybody that we should be looking at to perform very well, or did a lot of those guys get eliminated with all the upsets this weekend?
I was going to say, we saw the number 1 team in the country, Vanderbilt, get bounced. We saw the number 2 team in the country, Texas, get bounced. LSU with Cade Anderson, who I think might be the guy to answer that question. LSU, lost a game against a team that nobody thought they were going to lose against. And this to me is like baseball in a nutshell. It's just the kind of game where a team can come out of nowhere and go and knock off one of the big boys. And it's what I appreciate about the sport. Like, you don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to throw the hardest. You don't have to hit the farthest. You don't have to run the fastest. You can still win baseball games against more talented teams. And it's the beauty of this tournament. I'm not going to say like it's June Madness that we're dealing with here, but it's got some of those same elements to it. And it's not, last year the number one team in the country and number one seed in the tournament ran the table. Clearly, that's not going to happen this year. And are we going to end up, in a situation where there's another Coastal Carolina? Like, it's the beauty of what's going on right now in college baseball. And when just looking forward to the draft in July, like, there's no clear number one overall pick like Skeens was. Well, I guess Skeens wasn't even a clear number one overall pick because Dylan Cruz was in that draft as well, and there were questions about that. But there's no obvious top guy who's going to ascend to the top of prospect lists. The favorite at this point, actually, to go is Ethan Holiday, who is Jackson Holiday, the Baltimore Orioles second baseman's brother, and the son of, I believe, 9-time All-Star Matt Holiday, who, if Ethan goes number one, he and his wife Leslie will now have 2 children who went number one overall in the MLB draft.
It's amazing. Last thing we have here for you, Jet. Juan Soto. This guy's been on a pretty good run in these last, 2, 3, 4 games. Do you expect this to continue, everything that he has been doing?
Well, it helps when you're facing the Rockies.
Come on.
That's true. It does. Like, it helps when you're facing a team that's 9-50. They're easier to hit off of. Not a novel concept. But I have not lost faith in Juan Soto. He has been too good throughout his career and is still young enough where it's not like he's going to be losing any of the things that brought him to this point. When you get the largest contract in North American professional sports history, guys, there are things that come along with that, things that are unexpected. And it's very easy for us to look past those human parts of it. Because the guy's getting paid $765 million. And because, hey, guy, deal with it. That's what the money's for, like Don Draper said. But I think Juan Soto, at the end of the day, and at the end of this season, is going to be a very positive and contributing member of a New York Mets team that's going to go into the postseason with legitimate World Series aspirations.
I lied about last question. Boston Connor has one last thing.
Yeah, sorry, Jed. I have to ask. Red Sox land. Everyone just wants these prospects to get called up to the majors. What's going to happen there? Are we going to see these top prospects? Because I believe they got 2 or 3 of the top 10 in all of the MLB to kind of be those next dudes. Are these guys going to get a chance here soon? I think Mayer was playing third base the other day for us, but what? No, not John Mayer, Marcelo Mayer. But will these other guys get called up soon, or what do you think happens there?
Christian Campbell's up already, and he had an awesome April and an absolutely abhorrent May. Marcelo Mayer, not related to John Mayer, is now filling in at third base with Alex Bregman on the injured list. The one everyone in Boston wants, though, is Roman Anthony. And Roman Anthony's the best of the bunch. He is the number one prospect hunter in all of baseball. And as the Red Sox struggle, I know, you got him, but he's still not there. And I talked with Craig Breslow, the chief baseball officer for the Red Sox last week, and he brought up some points that are understandable. Like, the Red Sox, despite just being like mid right now,
dude,
they have a lot of good individual players at this point. You're not going to move Jarren Duran out of left field. Saddam Rafael is the best defensive center fielder in baseball this year. Wilyer Abreu has been, the third best hitter on this Red Sox team behind Alex Bregman and Rafael Devers. And so where are you finding at bats for Roman Anthony? That's the question. But it's one that if you move Rafaela to the infield, he plays second base, he plays shortstop. You move him to the infield, and all of a sudden you have a spot in the outfield for Roman Anthony. Rafael Devers being a designated hitter really sort of hinders things, but maybe he winds up shifting to first base at some point this season. Wow. And that just opens up all sorts of options and possibilities. So I don't know if the Red Sox in 2025, guys, are going to be all right. I do believe that the Red Sox in 2026 and beyond are going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with in the American League East, and that this team is set up extremely well for the future.
Well, appreciate that, Jet. That's awesome. Actually, another quick one. I know I told you last one a long time ago. Don't worry about it. Jet, you're giving us too much good info. We're entering into the baseball, like the prime time of baseball. It's June 2nd. Between now and, let's say, August 2nd, what's the biggest thing that's going to be going on with this Major League Baseball? What are you looking at? Like, what's going to be a big story? Who's going to make a push to become the next big squad that we want to watch?
It's a great question, and AJ, you are catching me in the midst of actually writing about that right now. I believe tomorrow we're going to have our first trade deadline preview on ESPN.com, where I go over all 30 teams, what they have, what their objective is, and what we can expect from them between now and the July 31st deadline. So cross-promotion alert.
Cincinnati
Cincinnati. No, I don't. I have the Reds right now in. I have a category called tweeners because we do not know if they are going. We don't know if they are going to buy. We don't know if they are going to sell. We don't know what they're going to do right now. The Reds pitching has been incredible this year. Andrew Abbott has a 1-something ERA. Hunter Green's been great. Nick Lodolo. They could trade Brady Singer or Nick Martinez, or maybe they go out and add some offense because beyond Ellie De La Cruz and Austin Hayes, there just has not been a whole lot from that Cincinnati lineup, which is really disappointing because they have a lot of young players who I think they came into this season believing we're going to hit.
Yeah, another team that was really believing was the Buccos. I'm sure that maybe they are believing again. The Skeens trade stuff, that's kind of died down, right, Jed? Is that kind of dead?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up because I feel like we started something last time I was on this show. I was merely suggesting that being open to the possibility of a Paul Skeens trade is something that I think smart teams would do. Now, I understood this pissed off people in Pittsburgh because finally they have someone that they can root for. Finally, they have something they can look forward to every 5 days. And here's this turd wearing a tie coming in and suggesting that they get rid of that guy. I get the anger from the Pittsburgh side. And just to be clear, the Pirates have no intention of trading Paul Skeens at this point. And I think part of that, guys, is because when we've seen pitchers of or near his caliber get traded in the past, it's usually been with like 2 seasons before they can reach free agency. Paul Skeens does not reach free agency for another 5 years. So trying to value that properly, I was talking with the general manager yesterday about this. I was like, what would you give up for Skeens? And he said, I think that if I were the Pirates, I would want 10 players coming back. And that's just not something that we're willing to do for anyone, let alone a guy who throws 100 miles per hour and has the inherent arm injury risks that Paul Skeens does because he throws so hard.
He doesn't have any.
I mean, just because other people hurt their arm doesn't mean he's going to hurt his arm, Jet. Like, why do you have to?
Also, you guys weren't paying attention. Ever since Don Kelly took over, they were playing salty ball. And they got robbed on Friday night of a win. Okay?
Okay.
You know what? I gotta say, I am a huge Don Kelly fan.
Thank you.
And I love the fire. I think he's a smart guy. I think he has great feel in the clubhouse. Players are going to love him. He's put in the time, put in the effort, put in the work. I just hope that everything that surrounds him in Pittsburgh, all the way up to ownership, is as good as he is.
All right, well, Jet, we really appreciate you. I kept you a few minutes longer than I expected, but we're looking forward to that piece on ESPN.com. Cannot wait to read about your insight into this baseball game. Obviously, we're pretty early on into a very, very long season, almost halfway through. We get it. But, ladies and gentlemen, Jet Passan. Thank you, Jet.
Great job, AJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Jet. Killing it as always. I'll be reading that piece tomorrow.
Yeah, have to.
ESPN.com.
Have to.
Well, actually, he already gave you.
Felt like it was a setup. Like he briefed me before the show. Like, hey, ask me about this.
You already know. The Reds are tweeners. He doesn't know if they're going to be buyers or sellers at the break.
Yeah, right.
Which means we're in a great spot, right?
Yeah.
It means that's what we do.
Where you want to be in baseball.
Great, unbelievable pitching, from what I hear.
Yep.
Ellie De La Cruz, the next big thing in baseball. Already is the next big thing in baseball.
Yeah.
He had a
Terry
cool moment.
Francona, manager. What about Ellie?
Ellie's sister passed away tragically, and then he kept playing, or he ended up playing the game and hit a home run.
He's
actually, one of those.
He's one of those dudes. When you watch him, like, how would you root against that guy? He's always so juiced, like so. When guys some guys have a certain aura about them where it's easy to be a fan. Like this dude looks like he's having so much fun playing baseball. You know, think of any other players like that. Any other guys? Think of any sport. Any dudes were like, man, why is the guy? He's a super high performer, but also seems like one of the best dudes that loves what he does. He's a great teammate.
Yeah,
Tyrese is a similar guy. You're right.
Gronk.
Yeah, Gronk definitely
Back in the day.
I guess you say they're joyous. You can see the joy on their face and in their body when they're playing.
Jovial, if you will.
Jovial, yeah. I guess that's part
Men
of it.
playing a kid's game.
Isn't that what
For
they're all
King's
doing?
ransom.
That's what they're all doing, Tone, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's why this is championship week, right, Tone? What do we have coming up? What days of the week? We got basketball. We got Panthers at Oilers. We got Pacers at Thunder.
Yep.
When do these games all kick off?
So Wednesday we start with the NHL Stanley Cup, and the Oilers are the favorites in that one, minus 125, I believe. Panthers are plus 105 right there. You see it on the graphic in the series. So that one kicks us off on Wednesday, and then Thursday we kick off the basketball with the Pacers traveling to OKC, where they are minus 9.5 in game one, and they are the Thunder are minus the Thunder are minus 700 to win the series. And if you remember correctly, if you remember back when the Pacers started the Cavs series, I believe game one in Cleveland was also minus 9.5, and the series price was basically the same. And that one turned out with the Pacers winning. So whether Vegas thinks that should be the line or not, you never know what you're going to get.
Do you guys have an issue with Siakam winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Tyrese?
It surprised me, but I don't think I have an issue.
I mean, Tyrese just wants the trophy. He wants the main trophy.
Yeah, surprised by who was voting.
Sure.
Certainly.
Who all does vote on that?
There's a list.
They showed a list, right?
But they both had such a good series. I think
who cares?
the crowning moment of the series felt more so like the Tyrese Halliburton triple-double, 15 assists, no turnovers. Like that felt as if it was the biggest, best performing game. But then when you look at the box score, of course, Siakam had 3 30-point games. I mean, he was the first half, damn near first three-quarter offense for Indy in Game 6, a closeout game. But no, this stuff doesn't really matter. This is what happened with the Celtics last year, where Tatum, widely regarded as the best player on the team, same with Halliburton and Indy. But Jaylen Brown won the Larry Bird Conference Finals Award and the NBA Finals MVP. My worry here is that the Thunder are the Celtics of last year, and they are just an unstoppable machine of a team. And we live in Indiana, so we're trying to block that out of our heads because we want to know and believe in the Pacers, which I do, especially with Carlisle and the Thunder having a super young coach. It feels like that is a massive part of this. And, the Pacers were in the conference finals last year. They know how rare it is to get back here, all of those things. But, yeah, the Thunder have just been a well-oiled machine all season long. And now that they are, in the finals here, we might see kind of that next step like you guys have talked about in the NBA, or in the NFL playoffs, where like each round it just gets better. It's better and better, faster and faster, more physical, and then when you get to the Super Bowl, it's like, hey, we're laying it all out there on the line, and it feels like that with the NBA now too. Like, if the Thunder, can they get better? I don't know, because they've been so dominant, but they've had a lot of rest, so maybe it's a rest versus rust conversation game one, but the Pacers just got to steal one. Got to get one.
Yeah, and I just hope it's a good series. I mean, obviously, we want the Pacers to win, but like that series against the T-Wolves just sucked. It was terrible. It wasn't entertaining at all. Like the Pacers outclassed the Knicks, and they were the better team, but damn near every single one of those games was still incredibly entertaining, and like, you wanted to watch the last 5 minutes because anything could happen. Like, the Thunder just beat the hell out of the T-Wolves for the most part, and it's like
suffocating defense too. That's the thing. Like, it's almost like you take their heart in the second quarter. Almost, you're like, okay, this one. Good luck winning this one, fellas.
Yeah, and I feel like the Pacers will at least be able to punch back a little bit because they do play, somewhat of a similar style.
That's why it's going to be fun. Like, how they run. OKC's defense that they play is just. They just showed Caruso coming in for a steal. Like, it would be so annoying to play the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
With how hard they play on defense, they pick you up. Like, there's never, like, you can just never have a second to relax. And I think the Pacers, how they play as well, how fast they play. Like, you make a shot, you don't even have a second to watch it go in the hoop. Like, you got to get back instantly because these dudes are going. They're catching. I mean, like McConnell's throwing full court passes to dudes. Like Obi Toppin somewhere catching oops, dunking on people. Like, I think it's going to be a great series. I think even if you don't care about either of these two teams, you don't have any personal vested interest, it's going to be fun basketball.
Yeah, very entertaining. And I think with the Pacers, like the three is the great equalizer. Like if they shoot incredibly well, like they have been, they're not going to be getting blown out. Like they're going to have opportunities. You shoot 40% from three with how many threes they shoot in today's NBA. Like,
but they don't even. That's a good thing. They don't have to.
Some teams
have to shoot a very high percentage three to win the game. Like we've seen that happen in the NCAA tournament sometimes in college, where a team is heavily relied on the three all year long. They get in the game and all of a sudden they get upset because you hit a cold night. Like everyone has a cold night. We know that.
Yeah, even teams defensively, to your point, that are some of the better teams defensively in March Madness, and then they play a team that just can't miss. The cool thing I think too with this series is like the Thunder's three best players are 26, 22, and 21. 26, 22, and 23 or something with Holmgren, SGA, and Jalen Williams. Like, we did this entire thing with the Celtics last year. Like, this could be the start of a dynasty, a crazy run. And, Tatum gets hurt, Brown has a torn meniscus, and they don't get it done. But the Thunder conversation is the same exact one. They got a very young coach who's going to be there for a while. SGA is about to get a massive contract. Like, they'll be able to pay a lot of their players this offseason because of the fact that, most of them aren't not too high on the salary cap. Like, I think they also are.
They're in the bottom 10 as well.
In the bottom 10, yeah, as far as, total money being spent. So the Thunder could go on a massive, multi-year dynasty-esque run if they can win. So it's going to be awesome no matter what. To Ty's point, just keep these games close.
Please.
We just can't be having massive blowouts. I mean, the Celtics won 4-1 last year. For me, it was awesome.
Go 7 games.
But yeah, it wasn't great, as far as just the casual basketball fan just want to watch a game. The hockey's going to be unbelievable. I think that is kind of the saving grace there with, McDavid going after his first cup and the Panthers going for a back-to-back.
Who do you think wins the hockey? Who do you think wins?
I'm on Team McDavid this year. I think I want Marshy to win it, because I would like to see Marchand hoist the cup, and I like Kachuk and them, but it just feels like it might be McDavid's year. Yeah, that is.
I read something. Who was breaking just that one clip of McDavid, the crossovers and how many strides he took was something that, like, nobody else does. Like how he can move the way he does.
Yeah,
I saw that thing too.
So if you're fast on skates, are you fast on land? Can you take the skates off? Is he running good forward?
I mean, Wayne Gretzky had absolute wheels.
Did he really? He ran a 4.3?
I don't know if you've ever seen that race. He beat
on track.
I did see that back in the day when they were like a bunch of sports stars were racing, right?
Yeah, and he toasted all of them.
He did toast a lot. That was back like Wild World.
I would assume he's pretty quick. I would assume he's quick.
Would you?
I would assume he could run.
They used to do that where they athletes from all different sports would get together and race and do different kinds. You can pop that actually back up. I'd like to see that. Here we go. Look at this graphic. Conn Smythe odds. That's the MVP of the finals?
Of the playoffs.
Yeah. Of the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Uncultured. That's fine.
Uncultured.
Yeah.
Well, I like Bob. I like Sergei Bobrovsky getting some love up here.
Yeah, absolutely. McDavid won it last year after they lost. Remember, there was a lot of drama with that. He didn't come out to get it. He was already.
I wouldn't want it either. Did you want to go out and get it?
Absolutely not.
What do you make of him touching the trophy?
I love it. I think last year.
Switch it up.
Yeah, last year you don't touch it, you lose. Pick that son of a bitch up.
I agree. And hockey is different. Hockey, we all know, like, hockey players have routines. They have superstitions. They have all this stuff. So we all know, like, this doesn't have any effect on the game. Like, whether you touch the trophy or not, I understand.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess that's why sports.
If it didn't, he wouldn't have touched it again.
I guess that's why sports
are
cool. That's why sports are cool, because we have these, like, irrational thoughts about things like this. Hey, if you touch a trophy, that's why you guys lost, because you touched the trophy.
I'm with you.
He's the best player in the world. It's like if you can't win a Stanley Cup because you touched the fucking trophy, then guess what? You probably aren't ever going to win.
Okay, we beat the Madden curse.
What about the ghost of Gordie Howe?
Well, that's a different story.
Gordy
Tony.
loves hockey, though. Gordy's not gonna. He's not haunting it. He's
unless he
help.
was the one that started not touching the
Colburn trophy.
Colhauser.
Clarence Campbell.
You're gonna have to ask his family about that.
The Colhauser Yellowstone Championship. Yep. No, I do feel like the Oilers will get it done, but another kind of different one of those summer sports, French Open. We're also in the quarterfinals.
We're in the tennis season,
Yeah, we're in the tennis season, and this is one of the first majors, or we're the
When's
first.
Wimbledon coming up?
It's at July.
First 2 weeks of July.
Yeah, so that will.
It's the first fortnight in July.
The French Open's a different deal because you got to play on that
clay,
and you got to slide and everything. I'm thinking, I'm picturing Nadal sliding.
Well, he won he won like 20
every
straight.
single one of
They
them.
put his signature on the court. They did a dedication to him. They put.
You guys ever play on clay tennis?
No.
Before, yeah.
Tone, I bet you're a big tennis guy.
I mean, I could knock it around a bit. I wouldn't say I'm a big tennis guy.
Tennis took a big hit when the pickleball craze came over. Right?
Yeah.
Pickleball's still a thing. People still doing it.
Oh, yeah.
AQ Shipley was at some massive tournament this weekend.
I heard he got his rating up to like 4.9.
I mean, he's working hard.
He was with the GOAT,
Who's that?
McDuffie, right? McDuffie.
He was not the
Peter
GOAT.
McDuffie. He played with Peter McDuffie.
Isn't that
He's a 5.2. I heard he's 5.3.
It is McDuffie.
McDuffie. I don't know. He was with
Tyson McGuffin.
McGuffin. There it is.
Who gives the ratings on pickleball? It's not like a golf handicap where you enter your score.
Gary V.
Maybe
The
it is.
John
WPL.
That's right,
McEnroe.
Gary, you're right. I forgot Gary V does. He gives everyone their pickleball
You don't know
scores.
that it's not like a handicap?
It might be. I don't know. That's why I'm trying to ask you guys. You guys were pickleball connoisseurs.
So were you played just as long as we did.
Either way, Tone. Hey, tomorrow Pat will be back in studio tonight. He is live in Tulsa for WWE Raw. See you tomorrow.
Hawker.
Nailed it, Hoggle.
We didn't get to the ESPN Plus and TikTok Live and all of that situation, but yeah, it kind of popped up on us.
It's
We're having a good time. We're just having fun.
That
Having a
happens
good time,
when you're dinking.
Dinking and dunking, you're right.
Yep.
Pickleball terms.
Oh, dinking.
Yeah.
I played pickleball for 3 or 4 days straight with you guys, and that was the last time I played.
Well,
2
and
years ago.
then we played for like a couple more weeks.
Oh, yeah,
in
you
here.
guys had the
I mean,
Thunderball.
tape's still
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, we had a good
It was
time.
awesome. It was a great workout, but then,
Got too
as
serious.
Things come and go.
as a lot of things do, they come and go, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, pickleball is fun. I get it.
It's
great
a lot
game.
of fun.
I just don't play.
I'm surprised your knees didn't explode while we were playing.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. 3 days in a row. Ty was my partner. Ty knew.
Oh, yeah.
I think our
you got to
issue-
really talk yourself up,
Our
especially
issue
day
here,
3.
too, is we switched to singles, which is a much different
Yeah,
game to
too
double.
much.
Pickleball is cool to
no
where
sides.
you can make it as hard as you want. You could get as much out of it, like physically, as you want. If you want to play super hard and dive for those loose balls and run around, you can get a great cardio work.
Which you should.
But you can also post up and try to be an assassin.
Exactly. See, that's what I've always. It's like if you want to like have a really strenuous workout and be like running and diving and doing shit like that, then like I'll play tennis.
Oh yeah,
You know, it's like I won't do that on a pickleball court.
I see Dahn just got into tennis. And how he posted a video. He's working
Sanders?
with a tennis pro, Prime. He was saying like, just give me a minute. It's about to be my thing. And I was watching. He looked pretty good hitting the ball back. Pretty sure it was Dahn. Not 100%, but maybe.
Okay. But you should double check your source.
I was gonna say that'd be
The source was me watching a video that Dahn put up.
Be an interesting. I don't know how much time he has to dedicate to tennis. He's a college football.
Well, they all
head
play. They all
coach,
work
so-
out. It's his workout, bro.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
That's what he does for his workout.
Sure.
Didn't you see Ryan Day plays tennis every day? I guess.
Seriously?
Yeah. He goes over it when he had.
Really? Because he was just golfing the other day. Did he miss tennis that day?
He probably did. Yeah, he was at the Memorial Pro-Am event, of course. That Scotty wins back to back. Another another quick $4 million.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. I mean, Scoots.
Those elevated events.
He's golfing against me, Ty Diggs, and you, but he's the GOAT.
That's not true.
Jack did not have one. Jack Nicklaus. Yeah, I know you guys played it in the first hour, I believe. Man, Jack talked about it. If you have it, Zeke back there, if you want to run it quick, just Jack describing Scotty going into the final day here at the Memorial.
Now, looking at the leaderboard today, he didn't have. I mean, Ben Griffin's a nice player. Sepp Straka is a nice player. Nick Taylor's a nice player. Those are all the guys that were there basically coming down the stretch, but he knows that those guys, are not in his league.
That's because he's the best.
Now, if he'd have had,
because Scotty's the best.
I don't know who else it might have been, but he had somebody else at the top, or Xander or somebody like that would have been there. He might have said, well, that might be a little tougher. I might have to do something different. He didn't have to. And I think I just asked Scotty if he watched the leaderboard. He says, yeah, I do. I said, well, I did too. I always watched the leaderboard and found out what my competition was. And I always felt like what level I had to play to fight that competition off. And sometimes you didn't have to fight it off because you knew they'd self-destruct. And so, so you just don't make dumb mistakes and play solid golf and you win.
Well, I guess I don't know. I wouldn't ever. You can't ever go into a round counting on them to self-destruct, right?
No, but I feel like there are guys who.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine?
It kind of happened yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched the end of that thing. Griffin was within 2 strokes. He had just eagled, he had just birdied, and then what does he do with 2 holes left? Within 2 of the lead, he double bogeys.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
It kind of happens all the time.
It just doesn't happen to Scotty, though.
You got to be Bill Belichick. Just let them make the mistakes. You don't make the mistakes.
Well, I also I don't think if we had all these guys from Liv playing, it'd be sweet, but Scotty is in a league of his own.
100%.
Bryson coming in, it's not Bryson's gonna win now. It's
right.
if Scotty plays 90% of his best golf, he's still the best guy out there. So I don't think he didn't really have to do anything yesterday, but Diggs mentioned this earlier, and I think Jack said it earlier, Xander was still in the field. Spieth's still in the field. There's still a bunch of
Spieth was making a run early.
Exactly. And then he melted as he
but
tends
Rory.
to do.
It was literally everyone but Rory.
What's going on with Rory?
I don't know.
He's healthy physically, mentally. We all know that. He just, I think, because of his U.S. Open prep, he didn't come to the tournament.
That's what he said.
I think there was only 72 players in the event, something like that, when there's normally 140.
I think that's all elevated events now.
Elevated, yeah.
That's amazing. I guess I didn't realize the elevated events, how the field is.
We don't need the Mickey Mouse guys there.
Yeah, they all made the cut. I mean, I like Spieth. Spieth hasn't won shit.
Agreed.
His scorecards are hilarious.
So I agree. Absolutely, Scotty's winning no matter what, and I do think that. And Bryson's guy who's shit down his leg in the past. When you're thinking about, looking and knowing that other guys on the leaderboard would be, you don't have to worry about them because they're going to screw up. Just having them there is the biggest deal. When it is Scotty and then a bunch of guys that go Foxy knows most of these guys who are going Diggs, but I'm not watching golf every single weekend, so when I turn it on and I just see Scheffler by 2 strokes, I know it's over. There's no that might as well be a 15-point game with 3 minutes left.
To your point, the entire tournament yesterday, there was no chance Scotty was losing that game in my eyes. Absolutely not.
Well, when you look at those guys who are supposed to be good, Justin Thomas shot an 80 in the first round. Yeah. It's and he does this a lot, and then he comes back and shoots 67 and 69, but it's Max Homa, same deal. He goes low on Thursday and then completely self-destruct. Scotty's just not doing that. He's not. So I don't know. It'd be awesome if Rahm and those guys were playing, just so the featured groups would maybe be a little bit more interesting. But at the end of the day, it's Scotty's just in a class of his own.
Scotty has. I don't know how you guys. Scotty has that. I'm not saying he's on a Tiger-esque run, but he kind of is.
Oh yeah.
He has that Tiger aura to where he. I saw you're watching the tournament. I live 5 minutes from this course. And I know I didn't go out to the tournament this year, but my son went out Wednesday to try to get Steph's autograph and Peyton Manning and all those guys.
Went on to rob all the drunk people of their money.
Yeah,
we're selling. Yeah, well, Zins next year. We're definitely selling Zins next year. We're buying a bunch of
couple logs.
Yeah, a couple logs. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Get those guys that are really stumbling out. They'll buy a whole log for $400. But whenever I feel if Scotty's even on the leaderboard anywhere, if he's in the top 15 going into Saturday, okay, Scotty's winning the tournament. I feel at least for me, and I was around to watch a lot of Tigers run, to where if Tiger's in the tournament, you legit felt like I would take Tiger over the field.
Yeah.
And I think, at least for me, I watch Scotty. If he's not, if he's within 12 strokes of the lead after day one, I'm he's going to win this one probably.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time this has happened either. I feel like last year was very similar, where he was damn near what is it, minus? He was minus 110 to win.
Which is unheard of in golf. That's the thing. Right. No one's, other than Tiger, Foxy, has anyone ever been on a run like this?
No, in my lifetime. I said it this morning. I think Scotty's got to be the second most dominant player ever behind Tiger. And in 2 weeks at the U.S. Open, I'd be more shocked if he lost than if, I'd be more shocked if he lost than anything else, which is insane.
We weren't alive for Jack or Hogan.
Gene Sarazen.
Gene Sarazen.
And that's what sucks for Scotty.
Yeah, Seve.
Because no matter what for Scotty going forward, people will say he didn't play against the entire field like all those other guys did. If they really want to fix it, guys like Jack have to keep talking. Hey, this is bullshit. We need to figure this out. Or Scotty needs to be I'm going to live.
The thing about it is, I was reading something Liv doesn't have anything that the PGA needs.
Yeah.
That they call it onboarding in the article or whatever I read. Thinking the PGA doesn't, like, other than the players, other than Brooks and the guys that went, like, there's nothing that they need to take from the LIV. There's no event. There's
music.
So how are they ever going to figure it out? How are they ever
I
going to
assume
combine?
they both feel like that though. Like I assume the PGA.
Well, LIV would love to have Scotty.
Liv would love to have all the players.
And
and the PGA
and the viewers.
thinks like
and the viewers and the tournaments, I guess, the courses.
Yeah, the course.
Liv saying like, well, we don't need the PGA.
But do they?
I don't know. I would assume no if they're just still going.
I read
Bubba.
I read the same article you did. Like when they break it down like that in term, but I think the difference is like the LIV doesn't give a fuck about the business or like the money aspect of it. But it was basically saying like the LIV isn't bringing any new sponsors. They're not bringing like a new TV deal. They're not bringing any of that stuff, and that's why the PGA has basically just been like, we're not negotiating with you guys. You offer nothing to us. Whereas, I mean, other than we'd love to have Bryson and Rahm.
They might get him anyway because aren't there? Don't we hear conflicting reports that their contracts are up?
With
LIV coming up.
But also at this point, it's really just Bryson and Rahm.
Yeah,
it is
100%.
Yep.
Are any young kids like coming out of college signing with LIV or anything like that?
I know of.
Well, I think wasn't that part of the thing with the contracts running out? Is like, hey, we're not doing the big upfront money deals anymore. Yeah.
Then you're not going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard Bubba though sit here when Pat said like hundreds of millions of dollars. Bubba acted like it was way less than what was reported that he got. Was he just being humble?
Well, I don't know because he wasn't at the height of his career when he went.
But he was still a giant name with multiple green jackets.
Well, and the way he talks about it, like they aren't looking at this as a 5-year deal. They're looking at it as a much longer term investment. Than
it's the whole equity thing. Like he gets to own his team, right?
Yeah.
That's how they present it to these golfers.
Yard goats.
So he's yard goats. So what is that?
Range goats. Range goats.
So the range goat. Do they want like some billionaire to come buy the range goats, and then you have equity in that team, or how's that?
I don't know
work?
because I thought LIV offered
like that.
PGA $1 billion just to get like in bed with them. I thought that was the entire thing. And then what and then the PIF guy wanted a board seat, right?
Yeah.
And then they told him no. Yeah, and that but we thought it was pretty standard operating procedure.
So what the hell is going to happen? What are we going to do? Are we just going to keep playing? There's just going to be two tours?
Probably.
Yeah, just in circles. Yeah. And the majors are going to be the only.
But is LIV going to get any new golfers? So that's they have to continue.
I don't think it's going to matter.
Golfers.
I don't know if it's going to matter if they get new golfers. They need to end on Sunday at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, just like the PGA.
Yep.
And there needs to be more drama. And the other thing LIV will never have that the PGA has is, let's say yesterday when Scotty's in the lead and there's a guy that's never won a tournament in his life and he has a chance to do it. Like, that's awesome. That's life-changing moment for him. All the LIV guys are made men. So there's never going to be like that underdog or a guy that's like, wow, I'm going to go get my first tournament ever. And so like that's a part of it too when there's not as many big names in the leaderboard. So there's just a lot of things. But ending at Sunday at 5 o'clock, I can't stress enough, is so important because everyone watches then.
Can't do the shotgun start either. That's so Mickey Mouse.
Nope.
So they shotgun start even on their final day?
I believe so. I think everything's shotgun start.
I think it's every day.
How many players on the LIV roster? Do we have any idea? Like,
I think Pat Perez contract's up soon too.
I thought 50.
Okay, they'll bring him over.
50 maybe?
Yeah, I thought it was 50 because you can get relegated, or 48 or something.
Yeah, it's like 48. I think.
Going to the shotgun start, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe it's like the last 3 groups. They all kind of play like you would a PGA style. So it's not like they're starting on different holes and shit. So at least like they're expecting those 3 groups to have the winner in there. And so it ends with a little more drama. But I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's how it goes.
Have you guys ever been to a LIV event? I know D-Butt has played in Pro-Ams and he's maybe
Just
attended.
Butchie, I think.
Yeah, just Butch.
But Bubba did invite us to play in the Pro-Am in August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
thought you were going.
Indianapolis?
You're going. You're
I mean, I'll
committed
tell you
to
what,
it.
if the offer is out there, I'll go play.
If the offer's out there, you were actually
You committed to it on the show.
I mean, if he remembers, he's being nice. He's on camera, like, hey,
No,
of
he
course you
remembers.
guys can come. But I would love to.
I saw him. He put it in his Palm Pilot.
Yeah, the gourd
Palm
on
Pilot.
you.
Did he have a stylist? He pulled out and
Yeah,
left-handed.
how would you use a Palm Pilot if you didn't have a stylist?
You want to explain what a Palm Pilot is to the younger generation?
Okay. I assumed everybody knew what a Palm Pilot was.
It looks like your iPhone.
It was a mini computer that you kept track of your calendar.
It's all right. We
and
don't
your
have to
tasks
get
and
into
stuff
it.
Like that.
But that's did you have one, Todd?
A Palm Pilot. I own one, but yes, I'm well aware of
You guys
what
probably had
a Palm
Blackberries.
Pilot.
Yeah, the Pearl.
That was around,
Pearl.
yeah.
I never had a BlackBerry.
Really?
Never had a BlackBerry.
Loser. Would you have a sidekick?
The
Flip.
Where you at?
I did not have a
chirp to
sidekick.
talk?
Nah, I had the old Razor, old school Razor.
Wow,
back
me
in the
too.
day.
Great phone.
Back in the day,
Great phone.
Verizon was big onto that.
Everyone
I
had the
guess.
Razor.
Did you have a Nokia?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
You didn't play Snake?
What?
You didn't play Snake on there? Brick Breaker?
No. I never got into like phone games. Still not.
It's because you were playing.
I'm older generation. You know, like Jim Irsay, God bless his soul, man. Remember he said, I don't care about a new phone. I want to fly to Mars, right? I want to go where, like I'm trying to go someplace. I agree. I'm with you. I'm in that same generation, right?
Yeah.
Ty?
So you were thinking that like when you were 18, when you got your first cell phone, like, I don't want this thing. I want to go drive to Florida.
Kind of, yeah. I want to experience the world, right?
Oh, sure.
Anything happening tonight sports-wise that we can watch, Tone, or we can bet?
Baseball's on.
Yep.
Any big primetime matchups?
That's a good question.
That's pretty sweet how the Dodgers-Yankees situation at least started off.
It was
cool.
awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah, it was
What was
cool.
the final score?
Of that game, I believe 8-5.
Okay. Which game was 18-2?
That was the second game.
Saturday.
Padres and Giants is and then Mets Dodgers. Those are
a good one.
But they both start at 10 o'clock because they're on the West Coast. So other than that, not super.
Any
great
college
games.
baseball?
Yeah, a bunch of college
definitely
baseball
college
tonight.
baseball in the night. Yeah.
Yeah, women's
World Series.
Yep,
on
it's
right
going
now.
on right now.
It's going on right now.
Yep.
Those girls that pitch that, there's no way I would ever even make contact.
Yeah, they're throwing 100.
How far is it? 48 feet away?
I think it's like 45.
Whew.
Jesus.
That's nasty. But what's so weird is because their arm motion, that's like a natural movement, right? They can pitch every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that the girl who starts for Tennessee has thrown like the fastest recorded pitch, I think, in like the history of like softball, or maybe it's not that, but like she throws fucking gas. And they were saying, I think she threw like 79 or 80, and they said it's the MLB equivalent of like 115 miles an hour.
But I've seen her on the mound literally every single game.
Yes.
Yeah. Seems like it, right?
Carlin Pickens.
Yeah.
She's
they
like
throw
their
risers.
stud.
They throw like risers. They throw sinkers.
They went to extras in that game against Oklahoma. I think it said she threw like 115, 120 some pitches, and then had to pitch the next day.
No guy has ever tried to do that and make a career in baseball from 60 feet 6 inches.
Oh, you mean underhand?
Yeah.
That'd be tough. Ball's not quite big enough to be able to manipulate it
riser.
quite like that.
Like what if? Yeah.
I mean,
say-
think
Why don't
about
you try
it.
it?
They do the. They
no, I can't even do it. I can't.
Submarine.
I'm not good at it. I'm
Here,
not flexible. I don't know if shoulder flexibility.
Fucking try it.
No, I don't.
You get out there and slide step?
I can make that thing. So I can make it dance. You're right. Never mind. I got it. I can still do it. It'd be a lot easier on my shoulder. I had some shoulder elbow injuries like in 5th grade from pitching. We just know one speed, fastball. And they say you got to throw a changeup. I said, if I throw one changeup and this dude hits it out of the park or hits it hard, I'm never throwing another changeup again.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw a couple changeups and guys made solid contact. So that was the last
Mangold.
changeup I ever threw.
Mangold just took you deep.
Nick could play. He could definitely play. He's a good first baseman as well. We played on a softball team in college, intramural softball.
Love it.
Nick was a great first baseman, outfielder. He could hit the ball.
Or are you playing?
Center. I'm not playing third and not playing short, especially in softball.
You don't want the hot corner?
No, I don't want. I never.
Grow
wanted to play,
up.
I played short growing up. I never wanted to play third though. I'm not
Afraid of the ball,
taking one directly off my face.
Sure.
And I wasn't going to wear a cup either.
Use your mitt.
Yeah, okay. You ever seen some of these dudes hit?
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
using metal bats back then too.
Not an intramural co-ed softball in college.
I don't know. There's some guys.
I know.
There's some guys that were probably on the, probably on the Buckeyes baseball team, but they, torn ACL, torn Achilles, something happened, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Texas did beat Tennessee, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did they?
Texas beat Tennessee to advance to its 3rd championship series in program history. So when does that start then? Do we know?
I think
couple days.
it depends, because I think Oklahoma still has to, like, if they beat Texas Tech, they need to beat them again.
The Blue Bloods stay the Blue Bloods, it feels like, in women's softball.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption. That's a good way to phrase it.
That was the Oklahoma squad who Pat went down and he got to hit with them.
Yeah,
and see all of
the
them.
gas
Oh,
man,
it's Patty
Patty
Gasso?
Gasso.
Yeah. She got a statue outside
Yeah, a
the
little
stadium.
respect.
Yeah.
don't you?
That's pretty awesome.
8 national championships or something like that.
Yeah, all right,
4
boys.
straight.
So Pat will be back tomorrow, correct? After he does Raw in Tulsa tonight.
Bingo.
Josh, wrestling is on a run. Man, it's fun. I see different clips pop up, and people ask me, like, when I'm out and about at different kids' games, they ask me about different wrestling storylines going on. It's pretty fun. It's a fun world to dive into that I didn't pay as much attention to before. Pat has been so deep into it. Just a fun world, and those people were awesome. What a weird, like, cool family environment they all create that we don't know about.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know, but I'm saying from being lucky enough to see the inside and see how they operate, like, everyone's awesome.
Yeah.
They're all so cool.
It's
They shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And Netflix has been great. It feels like so far. So Tulsa's going
Is
to
it
be.
UFC going to Netflix?
I don't know.
That's a
don't know.
possibility, they said.
No
Really?
doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're up. I think their deal is up. Right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be on ESPN anymore. That's for
Really?
sure. They're starting to pull a bunch of stuff off of ESPN Plus, I saw already. So it sounds like, yeah. either Amazon or someone like that.
That would be weird for the UFC to go to that. But that's where everything is going to happen. Right?
And WWE and UFC.
WWE made a very seamless transition to Netflix.
Yes.
Seems like it's been great.
Yeah.
They can handle it.
I think so.
Okay, good. And then, Gumpy, what's going on later this week, pal? What do we got going on, huh?
TST starts Wednesday. The boys got practice at 3 o'clock today.
Okay, explain TST to someone that may be first-time listener ever.
It's maybe the greatest soccer tournament of all time. Winner gets $1 million. There's 32 teams, maybe more. Our roster's absolutely loaded. We play Bournemouth first game Wednesday, 10 a.m. That'll be on ESPN Plus and ESPNU.
Boom. Do you know anything? You guys have a scouting report? Like, do you have any idea how these other teams are?
Bournemouth should be pretty good. They got a team in the Premier League, so they got some good guys. But every other team in our group, I think, shouldn't be a problem.
Just worry about your own camp. Don't have to worry. Yeah, exactly. It's about us.
Not about
CONCAFA.
Be nice to get off to a hot start after how we started last year.
Do you get seeded after your first couple games, or your first game or two, or how's that work?
So you got your group. So you have 3 games in your group, and then the top 2 teams in every group go through, and then the third and a couple teams go through as well.
So you got to win at least 2 of your first 3 to move on, you think?
We won 2 last year and got through.
Okay.
Need to win 2. Need to win 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to win that first one. Yeah, and you guys lost the first game
Don't
last
need to win
year,
the
right?
first one, yeah.
You lost the first, and then you won. I'm saying you really put the pressure on yourselves, but that's how you respond.
Pressure makes diamonds.
That's CONCAFA.
That's what they say.
Either that or you need to beat the piss out of a couple teams like they did last year. Because what was the Reggae Rovers?
Rovers walked us, yeah.
Yeah, and then
we didn't really have a game plan yet.
Right. But then you beat the shit out of FC Cincinnati, I think it was,
And
later that
Burnley,
night.
yeah,
Is Chad Johnson part of the team?
Yeah.
He was like the coach or something.
Yeah,
he can actually play. He can play.
Yeah,
they talked a lot of shit. That was funny.
Chad can play. Okay, whoa, was it Gump?
It was.
Because you guys beat him?
Yeah, it was funny when they were eating their words.
Chad,
eating the pitch.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Chad Johnson, I respect that dude so much. He had a professional boxing match a couple years ago and looked good.
Yeah.
Looked good. And
Guy's an athlete.
and he can play soccer.
Yeah.
That's a different type of athlete, too.
Yeah, it is.
You can do everything. If you can play soccer, basketball, football, soccer's a whole new world.
We'll also be live from TST on Wednesday and Thursday, this program.
Yes,
Oh, beautiful. Wednesday, Thursday, normal time. We get the stage set up probably same spot we were last year, Foxy?
Yep.
That's going to be sweet. Fans can kind of hang around, and that's a beautiful complex down there.
Weather's
Here in
supposed to be
Cary,
nice,
North
too.
Carolina.
Yeah.
The pitches look incredible from what I'm seeing.
Is it? Is there any? Is you guys play on field turf down there, or is it all grass?
All grass.
Soccer
Awesome.
players, you guys demand that, right?
Yeah, but back in Canada, we always played on turf. That's all there was.
But those pros won't play on turf now, will they?
Messi did for the first time. He played in Atlanta on turf.
What's the reasoning? They know that they tear ACLs and Achilles and other things much quicker than they do on grass?
Yeah, grass is everywhere in the world. Might as well use it.
We'll see what happens in the NFL. Think they're going to get rid of field turf?
Nope.
No, you can't. You can do too much. With that being said, guys, I think we're going to wrap this thing up. Con, man, what do you think? What do you
Yeah,
say?
I mean, now I'm starting to just think about TSD.
It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
We know what time you play, Gump, what time the squad's going to be going.
10 o'clock's first game.
10 o'clock Wednesday, first game, so before the show, before
Yeah.
the program. That'll be awesome. We'll get to watch, hopefully, a big victory as the show is getting started. You guys are going to be celebrating, coming over, maybe sit in the ice tub again. I think Greller did last year.
And then 6:30 that night as well.
On the show.
Who's Greller?
That's what I call him. That's what I call my guy.
Jordan Spieth's caddy?
Oh, Grello.
Is he still Jordan's caddy?
I think so.
I heard he's a stick and can play.
His name is also, I believe, Michael Greller. So
Yeah, I know. I call him Greller.
Michael
Greller.
Yeah.
He's a stuck.
I remember you yelled that.
you were
last year.
doing that. My apologies. I forgot.
You guys get it. With that being said, appreciate it, boys. Is back. Good job. Thank you. Mitt, great to see you as always, wherever you are, cruising around here. D-Bone, good work. Gertie, Zeke, everyone, boys, appreciate you guys. Obviously, I love coming in here and seeing you guys. It's been a long time, I think, since I've been in studio.
Yeah, since Mania.
has
That
been.
wasn't in here. Those.
It's been a minute. It really has. It's good to see you, boys. Good to see everything going on. Obviously, R.I.P. Jim Irsay and everything going on there with his memorial service. People from everywhere.
Oh my God, yeah.
Talking about what this guy has done, what he means, all the behind the scenes stuff that he has done. Just it's crazy, man. I wish he would have been around to see a lot of the love he is getting right now. But yeah, thoughts and prayers with him, everyone going through that situation. His family, I'm sure he had a gigantic impact on the NFL and everyone around him. That'll be That'll be it for me today. Pat will be here tomorrow. He'll be back on set Wednesday, Thursday show from Cary, North Carolina. CONCAFA Soccer Club's looking to really gas him up. Coach Gump is on fire. I saw him practice a little footwork here to get the boys ready during warm-ups. Cannot wait to get down there and see him. Everybody here, appreciate you guys. And here we go. Let's bring it up.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
You ready? Team on me, team on three. 1, 2, 3.
Team.
See ya.